Hi, this is Naroki5. I am going to be doing this until I die or I find something better to do. So please help me achieve this personal and, I think, noble objective by contributing to my Patreon or Subscribe Star. Link is down below. Every little bit helps. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. I am the Rookie 5, and this is a very special edition of the Red Pill Nation Hangout. This is the Red Pill Nation Hangout. Why won't my chat move up here? I'm trying to remember what number I was. Oh, there we go. Oh, wait. Oh, look at that. I'm having technical issues here. I'm trying to remember what number it is. Hold on a second here.
While we hold, let's just remember it was a red wave. We mopped the floor with them suckers. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, that we did. It is Red Pill Nation number 406. The election post-mortem. Yeah, folks. That's basically what this whole episode is about. Is basically we're going to be discussing the election in its entirety. And we will also, at the end as well, just before we have a closing thoughts, we'll also do some speculation as to what is going to be going on now in the future, because there's already been some very interesting stuff that's happened just in the last 48 hours that kind of signal that this is definitely Trump is not going to be as soft-handed as he was in his first term. But when we get to that, we'll get to that. My election story sort of begins like this. Roger was having a almost a continuous election night show. I jumped on a couple times. I made a couple of predictions, one of which actually ended up proving to be wrong. The second one, actually, I think I ended up being right about. But the first one was that the mainstream media wasn't going to give Trump the lead at any point until late at night. And
Yeah, you messed that up.
yeah, I messed that one up big time. The other one was that, I was kind of thinking that Trump was going to win. I didn't think it was going to be like him running out front right at first. But when I first joined and I first saw the early results coming in, the first thing that stuck out with me was Maine and Vermont. Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire are usually the first three states to declare. And two of those three states went, we haven't made up our minds yet. And those states, well, maybe not necessarily, I think it's either Vermont or New Hampshire, but one of those three states is a little bit unfriendly, but Maine almost always goes blue. And Maine this time was like, yeah, no, we'll just kind of hold off a little bit. And that was kind of where it started off with me. And it was like, oh, really? And then I had to jump off for a while. And when I jumped back on, I was fully expecting that they were going to give as many blue states to Harris as soon as humanly possible and not avoid giving any of the any states red until it became very obvious that they were going to be red. And much to my surprise, that wasn't the case. And we were off to the races. My early speculation on this as well is that Trump was down 3 or 4 points to Clinton in 2016, and he won actually fairly handily. He was down 6 to 8 points against Biden, and Biden had to cheat. Allegedly, I'm not going to say it's outright, but I think he did cheat. The Biden administration had to cheat to win, and this particular election was neck and neck. And it's not like the Democrats didn't have people in their party that could have challenged Trump. RFK, for instance, would have been a fair, like in hindsight, would have been a fairly nasty competitor to Trump had the Democrats just simply allowed the process to go through. And what ended up happening is that the Democrat establishment, and I have to emphasize this for those people who are listening outside of North America, the Democrat Party establishment turned on a Kennedy. The Kennedys have traditionally been Democrat, and for Robert F. Kennedy, who was the son of Robert F. Kennedy, who probably would have ended up becoming president, I believe, in 1968, had he not been assassinated. That was a real shocker, because I mean, we knew that I kind of knew that Robert F. Kennedy was going to be a huge deciding factor in this election, and having him flip to the Democrats having him flip to the Republicans was just, I mean, for a Kennedy to go and endorse a Republican would have been, it was like wow. And I mean, it's fairly obvious the deal that Trump made with Robert F. Kennedy. It looks like Robert F. Kennedy is going to be the Secretary of Health. And we will get into the kind of trouble that Rachel Levine is going to be getting, is looking to get, is probably going to be getting into. Jack Smith is another one. Those two are in some big ass trouble now. But we will get into that later on. I jumped in and out. The last time I jumped in to it, it was fair. Like, I mean, all of the states except I think for Minnesota were at that point. All the traditional swing states hadn't made up their minds yet. The only one that was left outstanding that you kind of figured was going to go the way it was going to go was Minnesota. And that was another eye-opener, because Minnesota is, first of all, it's Tim Walz's state, for one. That's also the state that gave you Ilhan Omar. It's also the state that where George Floyd got killed. I mean, you would figure that Minnesota would be solidly blue, and it wasn't. It kind of held out for a long time. And the other thing that really, I think, well, I mean, first of all, it was fairly obvious in the debate in June that Biden was not mentally fit to be president anymore. They should have had a mini primary and extended the primary for a couple of days when they had the convention in Chicago, as opposed to just unanimously declaring Kamala Harris as the candidate in chief. Because I mean, as we all recall, Kamala Harris did not receive a single delegate vote in the Democrat primary in 2020, like not one. And a lot of people were kind of surprised when Biden picked Kamala Harris to be the vice president. I mean, looking back in hindsight, it was pretty obvious why he picked her. The issue being here is that, I mean, and at the time in 2020, after a while, it was like, you know what? Let just give it to Biden for 4 years. And he will fuck it up so bad that they'll practically hoist Trump on their shoulders and carry him into the White House on their own, which is pretty damn close to what happened. Now, I was also packing up to go out to work that night. So I after I left, I didn't go offline. What I did is I turned to a very strange source to listen to, kind of as I'm packing my stuff up. I turned to Access Vegas, which is Rollo Tomasi's show. And I was listening in the background to the political talk there as I was packing up. And just as I was packing up, they just declared Pennsylvania for Trump, and they were literally, just as I turned them off, they had just declared Wisconsin, which was the state ironically enough, that put Trump over the top, I think. If it wasn't, then it was, I think it was Wisconsin. Then it would have been Michigan that came up afterwards, because Michigan had a lead of probably about 140,000 at the time. So Michigan would have probably, if it wasn't Wisconsin, then it was Michigan that put Trump over the top. I got to admit, I don't want to gloat too much, but I mean, what can I possibly say about this election?
I do.
Yes, okay, you'll get your chance. What can I say about this election? Trump and the Republicans. One, Trump won the presidency. He won the Electoral College. He won the popular vote. The Republicans control the Senate. I believe they control the House. If they don't control the House, then it is pretty damn close. Hold on a second.
That's correct, sir. They control all three.
Yep, they're right. They control all three. Let me just take a look here. All right.
It was a bloody red bloodbath.
I'm gonna avoid saying it was an absolute avalanche. But I mean, it was definitely a bitch slap for the Republicans. The Republicans just knocked the Democrats around. They
put butt plugs in the Democrats' butts. That's what they did.
Pretty much, yeah. That is pretty much what they did.
Are we really to that part of the show?
No, we're not there yet.
Hold on, Vika. Almost there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's not. And here's the part that somebody that pointed out to me: had Trump won in 2020, he would have been dealing with both a hostile House and a hostile Senate, and he would have had a lot more difficulty getting things done. He won't now. And of course, one of the quiet things, and I will get into this later. On. Is that this woke cult had been going around. They had never said the quiet part out loud, but they were acting because of the elections like they were the majority, like they had majority support, and they don't have. It's very clear now that they don't have majority support. So I'm breathing a sigh of relief. There are things that Trump has to do, like almost immediately out the gate. Otherwise, people are going to start questioning his they will start questioning his legitimacy right away. I can think of one guy who comes on a regular basis who is he's not pro-Democrat, but he's definitely not pro-Trump either. He would have some very critical things to say about Trump. But I mean, you got to understand that the changes that are going to be required in all of the Western countries, Trump is the guy guiding the ship, but it's going to require effort from everybody on down to make it happen. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Angel. He can go next.
Well, I am Angel, and I am going to gloat because for the last 4 years, I've been saying it. In 2024, we're going to have the return of the GOAT. That's right. Return of the Mac. Yeah. Return of the Mac. It's happening. Return of the Mac. Golden Orange Man is going to be back in the White House in 2025. For all you Democrats, let the salt flow. Let the tears come out. Go ahead. Cry about it. The next 4 years is going to be so sweet to just lick those liberal tears every time I see one of these liberal nincompoops cry. I swear to God, I might go in the corner and stroke one off because it's going to be a beautiful thing. They're already going ape shit everywhere. You're seeing it on liberal media. They're all having meltdowns. This is going to be a disaster. Yes, my liberal friends, it really will be a disaster. Let's see. This is going to be the disaster for the next 4 years. Let's do a little checklist here, gentlemen, if you will. Lower gas on your car. Oh, the horrible things of having lower gas prices. That is blasphemy. No boys and girl sports. How dare you? To quote Greta Thunberg, or whatever her name is. Let's see what's next here. Oh, yeah. We're not going to pay transgenders who want to become one when they're in prison, because that's just insane, right? Who wants their tax money to go to some guy who is in prison for the rest of his life who says, you know what? I want to cut my tallywhacker off, so it's better for the inmates to penetrate the interior of the front and not the back, because the anus is not made for that. But if they flip the hot dog inside and out, man, it's a great shout. But then the crazy part is, you'd figure they'll keep him in the men's jail, so, it helps the homies. But no, they want to then go be put in a women's prison. How does that work? I mean, they're never going to be able to, have the sensation of, squirt, squirt, squirt again. So, but I digress. Back to the note here. Another positive things for you liberals to contemplate. Oh, yeah. Groceries are going to go down, because remember, they've been going up every year. What used to cost $2 now costs $6. I had a friend of mine, gentlemen, who told me it's only $2 more for eggs. And I'm like, yeah, but it's $4 more for bread, $3 more for a pack of cheese. When you add things up, it's a lot of money to make a damn egg and cheese sandwich. That should cost no more than $2. If I'm paying $10 to make a egg and cheese sandwich in my house, something's wrong. So for you eggs and cheese lovers, it's going to be okay. It's going to be sunshines and rainbows, no more wars. I don't understand some of these liberals, but just calm down. I know you like, feeding the industrial war machine. That's fine. But for the next 4 years, let's give it a little bit of a rest. Will you? I mean, haven't we had enough death in the world? You guys, anybody? Shouldn't we, maybe give what John Lennon wanted, peace a chance? You liberals? Aren't you the party of love, understanding, inclusion? So why are you, calling a man Hitler who so far has never killed one Jew? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's gone genocidal on the Jews, the blacks, and the Latinos, and I just don't know any of the people he's murdered. But so far, the guy who played him on SNL, Alec Baldwin, he's got more body count. Maybe it
ain't the party of joy anymore, that's for damn sure.
No. Maybe he was a little rusty on that set. I'm not saying there's a little rust, maybe, but all I'm getting at, gentlemen, on the left, and ladies on the left, and all you other weirdos on the rainbow community, is just tone it down a little bit. Have a little bit more fun. I know it hurts like a butt plug up the booty. Like if you were at a Diddy party and you weren't expecting to wake up with your anus bleeding and having to go to the emergency room so they can sew you up. I understand. But just understand this. Because there's a lot of the LGBTQ LMNOP community people that are on the left. Just remember, if you could take a dick, you could take a joke. And if you could take a dick the next 4 years, it's going to be great. Look at all the benefits. Smile. Stop being so bitter. Nobody likes bitter people. Have your parades. Nobody cares. Just stay away from the kids and the girl sports and reading rainbows in elementary schools, showing your penis and your balls when you're a 6'5" dude in drag. Nobody wants that. So to end this little rant here, for the love of God, this is right now going to be the next renaissance in this country if they don't murder him first. That's from here to January, a lot of crazy things could happen. So he's already survived a bullet. He survived 3 attempts. So let's make sure he gets in the White House and he makes America great again. I'm done.
V, you're up.
I swear, you just stole all my thunder.
And by the way, that was all freestyled off the top. I didn't write any of that down because I'm a MC, not a
Straight off the dome piece.
Yes, sir.
Well, I'm just glad. I want to see if the Democrats can muster up a new candidate within 4 years. That's my thing. It was such a challenge for them to try to pull up somebody who's likable, actually understands the leftist issues, LGBT stuff and all the other non-conventional topics. But because they're pandering so hard. That group, the LGBT, this group, that group, they almost went, yay, pedophiles, started changing up things a little bit there.
And that's in California. Especially the pedophiles part. That's all San Francisco. Then you come.
The first thing I saw when I came to town here in California, Oroville, was a guy, long hair and a ponytail, big beard. He's wearing makeup, right? Has a dress on with jeans underneath the combat boots. I'm like,
that might be on Biden's administration. You might be want to check if he works for Biden.
Oh yeah, the head of the Department of whatever, stealing luggage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to see if they can actually do it in 4 years. Can they come up with somebody? Because they're going to try like hell to try to get him out of office. They're going to try. I'm glad he's president now. He can just pardon himself. They're not going to be trying to destroy him by taking all his money and all that, yada, yada, yada. I guess Trump Jr. or whoever this kid's name is, continue running the family business and actually learn to be a better businessman. That'd be nice. I'm not going to say Trump is a bad businessman, but he's mostly personality. That's how he makes it through. So, but I think he did a damn fine job.
Personality, bro. You don't make billions in business because you got good personality.
He did a damn good job as president, I thought. The dollar was doing good, and that's great when you're abroad, like I was. It's just to just to see him again try to take on the issues that he doesn't care about. And just move on, and just how he does things, I think is very fitting of, I wouldn't say a president, but some kind of monarch. So I don't know. I think he's got this in the bag. I think, because the thing about Trump is he genuinely thinks he's the greatest and always wants to be the greatest. So he did his job. I think he can double down on it this time and actually do some good for the country. So that's what I'm waiting to see. With that, I'll pass it on to you. So go ahead.
Three weeks later.
Yeah. Shut up. Love you, Angel, but shut up. I have to say that coming into all of this.
Do you want $2, you said?
No. No, I don't want $2. I've got enough cash in my account. Thank you, though.
Oh, I could Zale you maybe $1.50.
That doesn't cross borders.
Okay, guys, let's have Steele. Let's have Pearson say his piece here.
Well, before he does that, I something's come up. I gotta go. So I'll be back as fast as humanly possible. If you guys still on, I'll hop on. But if not, you guys
already? Okay. All right. I have to say, honestly, coming into this, I was much more optimistic and riding on the hopium. I mean, we've got people that are lined up for not necessarily miles, but I mean, at one point, I think there was one of his rallies that they brought in TVs or something like that for the outside crowd to watch. It was probably sometime over the last 4 years. I don't remember when. And between Biden and Ms. Knee Pads, you would be able to get enough people there to attend a funeral, and that's about it. And they're in, and they're the ones that are about to be buried. To me, there was just no comparison. One thing that, and I've never watched a Trump rally from start to finish, but I'm just curious to know if they ever at any point would pan out and show how full the stadium or the arena is.
Several times, actually, they've done that.
Oh, they have done that. Okay. Right.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's kind of hard, though, because some places have the whole news setup the way it is, so it's hard for them because the cameras are so big. But there's been a few rallies where you could see the totality of where it is, like the big stadiums.
Those stadiums were full, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but when I did Madison Square Garden recently, that was huge.
Well, generally speaking, everywhere he's gone, except when Bill Burr and his wife were in attendance for the UFC match. I mean, stupid bitch. Nah, whatever. She's part of Petalwood, so if she's part of the problem. But that's Bill Burr's problem, not mine. But I didn't have much fear that he wasn't going to win. I was actually don't get me wrong, I was anxious. But my gut feeling was telling me that he was going to win, but I just had to wait it out and watch the political theater play out. I did find it interesting, though, that California was pretty damn fast to vote blue. But, we won't go there. So, I have read alternate. Well, I'll get to that as. So we're working with the next part here. Is this is where we're getting into the night of? This is going to be the next section.
Huh?
Yo, Norky.
Sorry, I didn't have the noise unmuted. We're going to be doing stuff that happened before.
Okay,
before, the during, and then the last part's going to be the after. Then some parting thoughts.
That's what I'm looking forward to. Okay, all right, yeah. So I'll just leave it at this point. So yeah, leading up to the whole before thing, I had a lot of anxiety, positive anxiety, but still anxiety nonetheless. But it worked out, and I'm quite happy with the results. So we'll have to leave it at that for now. So I'll pass the one back to you.
Okay, hold on a second here. I'm just going to do a little bit of a timestamp here, just so. All right. So now the next part of this was the stuff that happened before, and we're gonna do this in like what I found out that they were doing before, to guarantee that the Democrats weren't going to be able to pull some of the tricks that they pulled on election day. Because as you recall, 2020, because Rearson was on, it was just me, Rearson, and that I can't remember, Bill the Butcher. And at the time when I signed off, it looked like Trump had 290 electoral votes. It looked like he was about to win, although they hadn't declared anything. It wasn't until the following morning that I got up that we realized that the states had all flipped. done conveniently at night, by the way. Which is why I personally thought almost immediately that it was a fix. What the Republicans did this time around, the first thing that they did is they got all the fucking they de-rhinoed the Republican Party. So the Republican Party is now, strangely enough, this is kind of almost like what happened back in the 20s or whatever, when the Republicans were the Democrats, so the Democrats were the Republicans. The Democrats were the party of the rich elites, and the Republicans were the working class party. This is basically what's kind of flipped over again. They got rid of the Champagne Republicans, and they put in Lara Trump, who's married to one of Donald Trump's sons. I think it might be Don Jr. I'm not sure which one it was, and somebody else. They got rid of the Champagne Republicans and the rhinos, and they immediately turned their attention to rooting out and spotting election fraud. And Lara Trump got a shit ton of lawyers, and every single potential case of election fraud was investigated. And I mean if somebody made a report to the Republican Party, like Lara Trump the Republican Party would send lawyers in with microscopes to start investigating. That's the first thing they did. The second thing they did is that they started encouraging, because Republicans were generally noted for voting on the day. What the Democrats were doing, and this worked fantastically well for them in 2020, was voting early and using those early votes to bank support for later. And it also made it a lot easier for the Democrats because they didn't have to worry about scrutineers at early voting boxes, whatever. The early voting was also a lot easier to get away with voting fraud. And they probably, and as James O'Keefe exposed in Minnesota, that is exactly what they were doing. Definitely in the case in Minnesota. Also, you saw it was not Vivek Ramaswamy. I can't remember that other documentary that was done a couple of years ago that showed the voting fraud taking place because of COVID. They had to put up these
2,000 mules.
What? 2,000 mules?
That's 1,000 or 10,000 mules. Dinesh D'Souza.
Dinesh D'Souza, yeah. They weren't, because there wasn't a quarantine on, they weren't able to set up these random voting, and Zuckerberg had an aching suspicion as to what was going to happen and didn't go all in on Trump, but didn't go all in on Biden or Harris, and didn't spend a lot of money making these boxes. So they didn't have these random drop boxes everywhere where they could sneak people in and pile in tons and tons of votes or hundreds of votes in favor of the Democrats in the middle of the night. That was also key. The third thing that really helped the why do I keep saying it's Democrats? The Republicans was look who was in charge. I mean, the Democrats' actions in the last 4 years all by themselves were a factor. And I said this back in 2020. The sharks are going to start circling the water. The sharks are going to smell blood in the water, and you're going to start seeing a lot of war. You're going to see a lot more dissent. You're going to see a lot more everything, and I was right. And that's just internationally. Domestically, I mean, we covered this on the show. We had that fucking transgender who kept stealing suitcases from airports. And this was a guy that the Biden administration selected that could have potentially had his finger on the fucking nuclear trigger.
He wasn't a transvestite. He was a transvestite, not a transgender.
Okay,
right.
He was a transvestite.
His name was Sam Brinson.
He looked like fucking Matt Damon on a good day.
Wow. Man,
Oh no, he did. He did. Anyway.
And then of course, like Rachel Levine, who we will get into later on in the show.
I don't want to ever get into Rachel Levine.
Oh no, not that way. I wouldn't
I might
even
be drinking, but I'm not drinking that much.
No, I ain't going. I ain't drinking that Kool-Aid, brother.
Now, of course, they also had the lawfare against Trump, which just made him that much more popular because it was very obvious that all of the charges done, all of the lawfare moves done against Trump, you could tell when you actually looked at them at all that they were kind of stretching the legal rules for in order to get Trump, which was, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered because I don't think, I mean, a piece of chalk could have beaten Biden. So yeah, there was all, and of course, you know, it was. But the thing though, one of the things that I really remember with Biden, because Trudeau was almost prepared to do it himself at one point, had the convoy not happened, he probably would have, was that rule that said that any company that had more than 100 workers had to get all those workers vaccinated, and OSHA was going to enforce that. Fortunately, that got shot down in court. So there's that, and last, and of course, the way Biden just botched it during the debate, and the Democrats Party not having a mini primary at at their convention in Chicago, and just magnanimously nominating Kamala Harris. And last but not least, you know, that shot of Trump holding his fist up where he's like, oh, he's not grabbing the American flag, but the American flag is conveniently flying behind him. That first attempted assassination of Donald Trump and how close it got and how they got that shot of him holding his fist up after what was like literally a near miss. Like a near miss. Like part of his ear is now missing. That pretty much galvanized things. And they were saying this very early on. There was going to be one of three ways that they were going to do it, and we will get into the third one because I suspect they still might try and pull that off because they're not. Biden is not gone until January. They were either going to throw him in jail, which didn't work, but not for lack of trying. They were going to attempt to assassinate him, which they tried at least 3 times, although the third one is maybe a little bit sketchy. Or, and this is the one that we're going to speculate on after the fact, they were going to create some type of an emergency, which was going to suspend the election or the transfer of power to Trump after the election. So, yeah. There was a whole bunch of little things that occurred along the way that prevented the Democrats from pulling the same tricks that they pulled in 2020. And it paid off for them, and they probably needed to have all of them in place in order for it to work. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Angel.
Well, here's the thing. Even if they would have cheated more this time around, they still would not have been able to beat Trump. We're talking about 15 million votes difference between 2020 and 2024 for the Democrats. That's a lot of votes. That's a lot of cheating. Now, the problem is, like you were saying about Zuckerberg and the drop boxes and all that stuff, for the Democrats, the main problem is this time around, we didn't have the George Floyd situation. You don't have Antifa and Black Lives Matter going crazy on the streets. You don't have all these, crazy riots everywhere. People, I think, understood that they fucked around, they fucked up, And now I think people are like, you know what? Yeah, we messed that up completely. So let's not have a repeat. And I think that really is why it was kind of quiet. I do hope they don't murder Trump from here to January. That's also been a fear, a terrible fear that I've had. Like you said, they've already tried 3 times. So what's another time, right? What's another attempt? Now, when I saw that the first attempt and he got up and he did the fight, 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 I said, this is like biblical, bro. This is not just like a cool shot with the flag in the background. Like, this is literally biblical. And think about this. John Kennedy got shot in the head, right? His brother was murdered when he was running for president, right? They weren't able to complete their mission to make America good from that point. They got killed. Now we have Donald Trump gets shot in the head, survives. And then we have Robert Kennedy Jr. join the ticket. If this is not like biblical, then I don't know what is. And I'm agnostic. But this is divine intervention. At the worst time in this country, what we saw play out in the last 3 years, from the domino effect of the failed Biden administration to everything that's happened with Trump, I mean, this is better than a Hollywood movie. Marvel, DC, Warner Brothers, none of these companies can compare to this. I mean, you can cancel your Netflix, folks. Just watch politics on C-SPAN all day. It's better. It's more entertaining. More shit happens. And on top of all that, it's real life. You're going to see play out. It's not a scripted, event, but it feels like you're watching a scripted event. And that's what makes it so much more biblical. So I really do think, while they might try again, I don't think they're going to take the old man out. I think Trump is going to get in there. And the one thing that happened, which really at least gives me a lot of comfort, is that they swept the House, the Senate, and the White House. Because if they would have lost the Senate and the House, but got the White House, it's no good. Because they were going to have either nasty Nancy Pelosi or that Bowman, whatever his name is. I don't know. Black dude's name is Bowman or some crap. They're going to have him. I mean, it was going to be a nightmare. So the fact that they were able to get all three, that's beautiful. So the next several, years, if they can hold and do really, really good for the people, there's not going to be a Democrat president for at least 20 years, maybe longer. Because after the last 4 years, and then the Obama years, and all the wars since, the 80s, and Trump is the only president that didn't have war in the first 4 years. If he could somehow end the wars now and have peace in the world for 4 years, and somebody like, say, J.D. Vance runs in 2028 and he wins and that continues, there will never be another liberal president. Because it's already proven when you have liberals in the White House, bad shit goes down. Every time Russia invaded any country that they were trying to, get back or whatever, like Ukraine or Crimea or whatever, anytime they went anywhere, it was under a liberal president. There's a reason for that. It's called money laundering. It's called the industrial war machine. Don't you all find it kind of interesting how as soon as Biden and Harris took over, the first thing they allowed was the Nord Stream 2 pipeline in Russia to go back into production, and they took the MCA out of or MCU out of production in America, the Mexican Canada United States agreement. I mean, they did that for a reason. People are like, well, it's because there's a pipeline going through America. Who cares? Makes us energy independent, lower gas. We don't have to buy from the Arabs, from China, Russia. We don't have to feed them more of our money to get cheap gas to then pay more at the pump. How does that work? And when I say cheap gas, I'm not saying like the price in the pump is cheap, because that's expensive. I'm talking about literally the fuel is different that comes from those countries. It's dirty oil. What we're pumping here is cleaner, is better, is more refueled, and we're doing it here. It doesn't go through the same process that it would normally come through if it comes from those countries. So we literally are better for the environment, for you climate change, idiots out there who thinks that we're causing the climate change, even though the planet's been here for 5 billion years and it's always had change. Climate change has happened since day one. That's how we kind of got here. You can't stop the hustle. It's going to keep going on. And when humanity is like in Mars and there's no more humans on Earth, guess what's going to happen? More climate change. That's an endless cycle on every planet. And people are like, yeah, but global warming. Compared to what? We've only been really studying that shit for the last 100 years. On a serious level, we didn't have the tools 200, 300 years ago to really study global warming. 1,000 years ago. We speculate, but we don't really know. And for all my friends on the left who love to say things like, oh, but global warming is caused because of methane and cows farting, and we in America, we need to do a better job. And yet they want to help China, right? Because like Joe Biden said, China's not going to eat a lunch, man. Come on, man. But guess what? China has a worse carbon footprint than we do. China, for decades, pollute the planet more than we do. So why do we have to pay more in taxes to clean our area more when we're already cleaner than most of the other countries, right? We have to lose our gas vehicles and go into electric cars because it's better for the environment? No, it's not. Actually, it's worse. Because guess what? Those electric cars, you still need oil. If not, how are you going to run the cars? How do you make electricity? With oils, dummy. Now, you say, well, if you need oil to make electric cars run, how about all that lithium stuff for the batteries? Oh, that's wonderful. That's made in China for the most part. So you want to put more money in China and Russia and the Arabs? Or you want to make clean oil here and have every vehicle available that you want to go buy, whether it's oil, hybrids, flex fuels, electric, whatever your choice is. It's called freedom of choice. For all you, it's my body, it's my choice. Well, it's my money, it's my choice. It's my vehicle, it's my choice. If I don't want to spend $100,000 on an electric car to go 15 miles and have to refuel for 3 hours, then I don't have to do that. I don't want to have to do that. I've been in the car business, and believe me, as much fun as Tesla looked, and they're a lot of fun to drive, it sucks when you have to sit there for 3 hours to load up the battery. And they're made in China. That's, not helping us here in America. And even Elon Musk gets it. And he makes the Tesla cars. But see, he's a lot brighter than some of my liberal friends. He understands you need all the brands available. And he is working now with Trump and a lot closer than before. And he's going to do a lot of great things in the administration. God willing that we don't get Trump unalived. You know, if Elon is allowed to do with Trump what I think they're going to do, it's going to be amazing. But one thing that they're going to like really, I think, focus on is how to manufacture batteries that don't use China's lithium for the electric cars. And it's going to be manufactured here in America, in Texas, in his headquarters, and it's going to help make America great again and independent from having to buy from our foreign enemies who want to kill us. Gentlemen, it's not like you're dealing with people that love us. Some of these countries, like Iran and some of these countries, literally want to kill us. So the only way to really not have wars and have prosperity is have somebody who could actually go in there and say, remember what I did to Soleimani and al-Baghdadi? I'll do a lot worse to you, Putin, and you know we can. And you, Chin Chong Ping Pong Pong in China, we're going to tariff the shit out of you, so you better calm the fuck down. And all the rest of you clowns out there, you better back off. Because, hey, remember, Orangeman is unhinged, right? And he proved it when he bombed the shit out of Soleimani and al-Baghdadi. And when he told the Taliban, hey, y'all make a move. Look at this right here. Abdul, check this out. You see that? You see, Abdul, you see that? Well, why is there a picture of my house there? Your Majesty Trump. You make any moves, Abdul, I'm going to bomb the shit out of your house. Contemplate that. Let that sink in. That's the president I want. Who does that, gets up and walks away. And that's not hyperbole. That's not him inventing it. That's been confirmed by the people who were there. That's brass balls. Unlike Joe Biden, who was in a negotiation in his first year with some of these countries. And the funniest thing happened. Russia told Joe Biden to sit outside the meeting and they're going to negotiate without him. And Biden went outside and sat down like a little kid. And, you know, if Kamala Harris would have won, she literally doesn't have balls. I mean, literally. Unless she's a Fafafini or a transgender or something. But I think that's more Michelle Obama. But anyway, I digress. To end the little segment here with myself and go into Rierson. Or go to Rierson, not into. Anyway, you know what I mean. I'll just end it with this. We need a president who says it, means it, walks it, and has the balls to do it if it needs to be done. But also a president who wants to get peace, prosperity, and secure our country and our borders. And for every liberal out there who says, we don't need border walls and border security. Okay. You take a couple of Haitian immigrants. You take a couple of Ecuadorian immigrants into your home. You know, become a sanctuary house. Take some of these illegals. See how much you like it. I bet you're going to come back crying. You know how I know? Because as soon as it started becoming a problem in some of these blue states, they all cried like bitches. So, good luck to everybody out there who's crying. But when they start deporting these motherfuckers, I'm going to be crying, but it's not going to be from sadness. It's going to be from pure joy. Because we're going to have jobs again that goes to the citizens. Maybe they'll start bringing some of these programs and help our veterans that need it. Are disabled here in America that need the money. Not the illegals that are getting all the money that we should be getting. You know? So, in closing, so Rierson can go and blow it out. Anyway. Final thoughts as gentlemen, and all you listening or watching this later. Calm down, relax. Let's pray for the best that he gets to 2024. And just remember, it always could be a lot worse. We know that for a fact. We just experienced it since 2021. And look at that. Right on time, Roger Hansen has joined the call. Mr. Hansen?
Yeah. Did I
Uh-oh.
hear you on time?
You're a little bit late, but we were talking about sucking toes.
Yeah, we're no, we were.
Angel, I'm not into that kind of shit. You know, just keep that shit to yourself. Just saying.
It's look, it's a little jelly, a little jam, and you put some peanut butter. It's so good.
Okay, Roger, we were talking about the stuff that happened before, the things that happened before. I'm just going to add into a couple of things that Angel did before I turn it over to Roger here. We're going to be before the election night, and we're going to be talking about after and then parting thoughts. That's the flow for tonight. So right now we're on the before. One of the things I'm going to extend a couple of things that Angel pointed out. One of them was the fact that I think that Antifa and BLM or whatever, they didn't riot. I believe that people were actually on the lookout for that as well. If they had tried loosing Antifa and BLM and doing that again, they would have had some very stiff and stern opposition this time around. The other thing is that, having Tulsi Gabbard and Robert F. Kennedy and having a significant number of what you would probably call not leftist Democrats, but just mainstream Democrats, just mainstream people on the left, classical liberals, whatever, jumping on board with the Republicans really helped their cause. And that cannot be underestimated. So, Roger, the before time, what were your thoughts? What was making you think that there was going to that there might possibly be a Trump win? And what were some of the things that you were experiencing and feeling in the time before? And you can go back as far as you need to. So take it away.
In the before, remember, don't be burdened by what has been.
Well, with me before we found out what was happening, I thought for sure that there was going to be a fix. And, I think one thing that really stuck out to me during the whole process, and I didn't know until the end when me and Angel and Jeffy were talking about it afterwards, but like I during the whole time I was wondering if like what the black community's votes were going to be, because I mentioned it before about Black Lives Matter not supporting Kamala, and that kind of stuck in my mind. I was wondering what that was going to turn out to be, and to be honest with you, it really surprised me, because like with like the way people are voting today, I was really surprised that people were smart enough to realize that this woman was not really good for the freaking black community. You know what I mean? So that was really what caught my attention during the whole process before we found out. And I think the thing that worried me the most about it was like back when she was trying to run for president and Biden took office, with all the information that was brought out about her when she was in government in California, it was really alarming. So she had always been like a red flag in my head, you know what I mean? And then when they made her vice president, I was like, dude, something is wrong here, you know? So I don't know. And then like this whole thing with Biden at first, whenever it first happened with his debate with Trump, I thought maybe that, he was staging it and everything because he wanted to get out because of all the stuff that was going on with his son. But then it started to dawn on me, after a while, hold on, man. Maybe this was all staged. Maybe him walking out on that stage and acting all senile and old and everything was just staged, and things of that nature. it's just like with the whole running up, they had people talking about how much of a percentage it was between Trump and her, and they were saying it was so close, and that wasn't the case, just one lie right on top of the other. So those were my thoughts beforehand. I
Okay.
might have said a little bit about the afterwards too, but I apologize.
Well, we have been kind of jumping all over the place, just as long as we just generally stay on the topic. Rierson, now you're up.
So this is during.
Before.
Oh, before? Oh, good lord.
And soon it'll be the after.
Well, oh god. Where do we even start on this one? I've already been I've been admittedly way off in the rhubarb, shall we say, with everything that happened after 2020. And I remember distinctly changing my tune immediately after, well, once all of the unexpected, kind of like PC with their election, we'll leave that alone. With all of those votes coming in unexpectedly overnight for Biden, and I'm going to say this as well too. Is it me, or does it seem like Biden kind of almost has a Jim Carrey-like grin to him at times? Because he sure didn't fucking exhibit that before. Anyway, before, fuck.
Nonsense, poopy pants.
I mean, how many times have we covered every little thing that the Biden administration has done that was wrong? Or, I mean, I followed quite a bit. I have, and I still will follow quite a bit on Telegram for alternate channels. And before, fuck, there was a coworker of mine, and we're still close. We still send each other things on Telegram. But he was the one that woke me up or brought my attention to Q, and that was the beginning of the end for me in that regard. So it was, oh, fuck.
And what a fuck it was.
Well, I didn't walk away with I didn't walk away with a the bloody ass. I'll say that much.
But you ended up with a happy ending.
Butt plug.
2 days ago was a happy ending, yes, very much so. But like there have been a lot of little things that we've covered over the last 4 years that have culminated with what the fuck's been going on, with what led up to and resulted in what 2 days ago. Again, 1,000 Mules or 10,000 Mules, whatever the fuck it was called by Dinesh D'Souza. We touched on it. We didn't go into it. I've had questions about Vivek, whatever the fuck his last name is, Shawarmi. I don't know. Anyway, but he seems to be all behind it. There was the speculation of RFK Jr. going as independent because he didn't conform within what the Democrat Party became. Not what it was, what it became, as was already mentioned. And the need that he would need bodyguards, and they only provided him social security, no, Secret Service.
That's funny.
Social Security.
I apologize. I'm just having a little bit of worry.
You're almost 70. You finally got your social. Good job, Robert Kennedy Jr.
God, well, and then leading up to Trump, I've heard that there was a front that needed to be played out in terms of, shall we say, political theater, that Trump and RFK had to be at odds with each other and which really sounded no different than at the end of it all when Trump was grilling Jeff Sessions for not doing his job well enough. But when he left, thank you, Jeff Sessions, for your work to serve your country, blah 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 blah. that's not something that you would say to someone that you were kind of at odds with. So it's always been say one thing, do another. So there was that. And then Tulsi. Well, Tulsi ended up getting kicked out of the Democrat Party already as it was, because she was a genuine enough threat to Hillary. So her joining ranks with Trump really, for any of us to look at it, that would look like it would have been one of those things that would have been inevitable, and it was. So here's someone who brought in an independent who was apparently kicked out, well, disowned, I guess would be the best way to say it, by his own family. So I don't know what to think of that, because I'm not anywhere near close to the Kennedys in any way, shape, or form, nor will I ever be. At least I don't think so. I don't foresee it. Then, a woman who served in the military, I think she got up to what, major? I think, yeah, she was a major within the U.S. military. And she knew that her maybe future with the Democrat Party was gone. So she went in with someone who, the signs were there. That's all I'm going to say. The signs were there. So there's all of that. And then I don't know what else to say. It's just that it's been one of those I've been keeping to myself because, again, with everything that enough of what I experienced on Facebook or Crackbook, and that's exactly what it is. Fuck. When I talk about Trump derangement syndrome, Canada has it in fucking spades. Oh my God. I think Alberta's probably the most pro-Trump province there is. Probably followed, I don't think, too far from Saskatchewan, and then maybe the interior BC. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So I've kept a lot of thoughts to myself, bit my tongue overall. Again, severed a friendship that needed to be severed. Won't go anywhere. New York, you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, I mean, for me, it's just been a big, slow wait and see. Just keep the faith and toe the line, if only to myself, and to find comfort, to find solace with other like-minded people, with channels that are more specific on Rumble, the odd one that's still on YouTube, that are with people that are of a like mind. But when I went back to Ontario recently enough before the election, my dad, and he's on death stories. He might have another 3 weeks to live. I don't know. It's wait and see. And my opinion is that he's this is all with him religiously following the COVID jabs, and all I gotta say about that as well too. And the whole thing with COVID was to rig the election as well too, but we'll leave that alone. Again, no fucks to give, folks. No fucks to give. And we haven't actually hit the standards yet either. I guess we kind of brushed it over with me, but that's another story. But when I was in Ontario with my family, the extended family, I think I was pretty much, there might be 4 people within my cousins, aunts, and uncles, well, maybe 5 or 6, that are Trump supporters, and I just knew that it wasn't the time to talk about any of that. I did talk about it with my mom a bit, but she drank the Kool-Aid. So, oh well, I'm just the black sheep in my family, but I see what's coming down the pipe. It's going to be good. It will work out. It's just we're going to have to go through fucking hell pretty soon. So, and then, as I said earlier, with the election night, it came down to being anxious, positively anxious, but still anxious. But my feeling is that, well, the results were going to be the results. So, yeah, that's about all I got to say for now. So I will stop rambling, and I'll have enjoyed a bit more of my wine with no cat litter. Oh, sorry, ladies. There we go. Anyway, I'm done.
Man, I don't know what the fuck you just said, little man. But you touch your brother's heart. You special kid.
He said it was all going to be good.
I'm not gonna fly out. I'm not gonna fly out to dry your tears, man.
You're special, kid. I love you.
In the end, it'll be all good. It's just right now we got to put up with all the crazy
Yeah.
stuff.
I love you like a fat kid loves cake.
I want to hug him.
Yeah, I love cake. I love cake too. All right, so now we get into
I
the
want to
next.
hug you, Rearson.
I love you like Kamala loves a white husband.
Or
No homo suspicion points here, folks. No homo suspicion points here.
Okay, so now we get into the actual election night. Now we covered a lot of this at the start of the show, but we're going to get into it a little bit more. I probably should have seen the writing on the wall. Angel was ahead of me on this particular spot. When Maine, of all places, and that's always like one of the first states to declare because it's the easternmost of the states, and and Maine did not immediately go blue, and I believe it's New Hampshire, which is the other one that doesn't necessarily always go blue right away. So that was two of, because there's like a whole Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, there and New York. Now, most of those will generally go blue pretty quickly. There was a couple of them, and New Jersey as well. There's a couple of them that didn't necessarily turn right away. New Jersey at one point looked like it was actually going to go early, like a few months ago, looked like it was actually going to go red at one point. Which was a surprise. By the time I got on with Roger, the second time around, I was looking at the electoral college totals. I was like, whoa. And of course, at that point, the thing that I think really determined it when I came on was the fact that Virginia was red, Minnesota was red, Oregon was briefly red as well, New Hampshire was red, it looked like Maine was red, and I'm like, those were not the swing states. Those were states that were soft Democrat states. Like, there were ones that Democrats would probably win but weren't assured to win, and all of those states were red, at least at the start. And if those states were showing red at the start, how was it going to go for the swing states? And that's what pretty much pushed me there. And then, as I stayed on, we got the states from the central time zone, we got the states from the western time zone, and I also started looking at all of the other ones, and it looked like it was starting to look, specifically in the Senate for sure, it was looking like it was going to be an absolute clean sweep right across the board for the Republicans. And by the time I got on at the end, it was pretty much, although like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona hadn't declared. Oh, and Minnesota and Maine hadn't declared at that point either, and neither had Georgia and North Carolina, but they'd already given North Carolina over at that point. And it was like, I was looking at the vote totals and I'm thinking, yeah, it's looking like Trump has it in the bag. I wasn't going to outright say that Trump had it in the bag because it was sort of like, Pennsylvania in 2020, there was a lead of several 100,000 in Pennsylvania. Like, Pennsylvania looked like it was going to stay solidly red. And by the time the smoke cleared, Pennsylvania had flipped. And by the way, the lead in Pennsylvania was significant for Trump by the time we logged off for the 2020 election. Like, this time, And I was looking at the numbers the whole way, and it looked very much like the Republic, like it was going to be Trump. But I mean, they might have held the House, but when I did a quick view of the map on Google and looked at where the Republicans were leading, it was going to be a slight majority for the Republicans in the House. But I mean, yeah, the House was really about the only one of the three that really was kind of up in the air as to whether the Republicans were going to win it or not. At no point, well, I have television, but at no point did I watch any TV on this. I did, however, postpartum, by the way, find out that Rob Reiner, Destiny, and there was a lot of people that brazenly predicted that Kamala Harris was going to win it, and they are currently eating a lot of crow at this particular point. But a lot of them had made predictions of a Harris victory, and that is not what happened. There was clearly a lot of delusion. There was a lot of delusion about on the Democrat side as to what was actually happening. That delusion, by the way, has not gone away. It has only gotten worse, which is probably the reason. And I'm kind of looking for 4 years ahead here. Probably the reason why the Republicans are probably going to take the presidency again in 28. But I'm getting way ahead of myself here. Bottom line is, and Angel will probably say he's not that. Well, actually, Angel has said on the day that he wasn't all that surprised. I was a little bit surprised because I had run the scenario in my head based upon what I had seen the mainstream media do in the past. And the mainstream media in the past has tried to, when it comes to Trump, has tried to create the narrative that he was always behind. So you get to this election, and the mainstream media has literally got no choice but to concede that Trump is leading, not just in the Electoral College, but in the popular vote. And because they would only do that only if there was little to no other choice.
I got a theory on that, though.
Yeah, I'm all ears as to listening to it. When I finish here, because I mean, there's not really all that much to report about the election itself. It was a bit of a surprise. I knew that Trump was going to win. I didn't think it was going to end up being an absolute bitch slap. I'm going to stop short of saying that the Democrats got absolutely crushed. I'm definitely willing to say that the Democrats got bitch slapped and got knocked around a little bit. And I will leave some of the other stuff that's got some of the stuff from afterwards. But I mean, of all of the things that came out of the election, that I think was probably most important, that's got to be most important down the road, is that Trump won the popular vote. And with that, I'll turn it over to Angel.
That is very important because they can't say, well, you cheated. You only got the electoral vote. That means the country is, mostly on our side. No. The man won the electoral and popular vote. But here's the kicker. Not only does he win that, and we're talking about the other branches like the Senate and the House, and when you look at what happened here, Democrats lost 4 seats in the Senate. Republicans gained 4 seats in the Senate. So this is, that's a big number. You're like, yeah, but it's only 4. But in reality, when you're talking about the Senate and the House, that's a lot less individuals. To have the Democrats lose 4 and the Republicans gain 4 in a race where it's a very few amount of seats that are going to determine the difference. That's a big number to lose and to gain. So we're talking about 53 to 45. That's a pretty. That's bigger than a bitch slap. I'll give you that much. To me, that's kind of like sticking the finger up the booty hole without telling you that there's no Vaseline. And then you look at the House, 211 to 199. So it's not as big a difference, but it's enough to give the lead to the Republicans. And look at the numbers again: lost two for the Democrats, gained two for the Republicans. And it's very important because if now with the control of the House, the Senate, the presidency, and I knew this was going to happen, and the reason I knew this because the last several months I have noticed since Kamala became the heir apparent to the nomination. This is why I had a theory. I've noticed that there's been a little bit of a switch in the coverage on the media. So when you said that you think the media wasn't maybe going to call it early, I doubted that because I think this is the way the media cleans itself a little bit and has a little bit of a little bit of saving face in the public's eyes, saying, look, we conducted everything properly. We told you the real results. We're not involved in whatever. We might hate the guy, but we're not trying to rig it. So the media kind of like goes a little bit clean on that. But on top of that, while they're all hardcore leftists in the media, there's also something that I've been told many, many times by a lot of people within media. Secretly, they all hated Kamala Harris. They were all in on Biden because of Obama. But then when it became clear that Biden was lost in the woods somewhere eating ice cream and not functioning here on Earth, they said, we need a replacement. But they hated Kamala. Remember, just a month before, she was the worst thing alive. Worst vice president ever. Right? She couldn't be seen anywhere because there was always
worse than Dan Quayle, because that's a hell of an accomplishment.
Believe it or not, they at some networks, and I'm talking about like the left networks, were saying that she was the worst historically. So yeah, more than Dan Quayle. And they all went to the border issue. And to me, in America, the things that are more important right now is safety, the ability to be able to feed your families, not have to worry about having issues with people that have just got here from other countries. These are real problems that people are really facing in this country. So I think the left media saw that really play out for the last 4 years, but they couldn't just have like CNN turn and become Trump's buddies, right? But they got rid of Don Lemonhead and Frito Cuomo, and they fired a few people that were working really hardcore to destroy Trump in the last two cycles. So that was just something I saw, and I was like, that's interesting. There's different reasons for it, but that's interesting. And then I noticed something in the actual results here. I noticed they were being honest about the results. And everything just made sense. They need Trump. They want to continue hating Trump. But they need him. Why? He brings ratings. And it's all about making ratings. If Trump loses, you don't hear from him for the next 4 years. Guess what happens? Nobody will be watching CNN. Right? They'll lose everywhere in the ratings. And Kamala's going to do a shit job. And what's going to happen? The country's going to really be pissed at that point. So I think that's my theory as to why they were so honest when it came to actually reporting the real numbers and not holding back. But there's still a couple places in the map that they literally held back in reporting the final results. Where there's some states that I'm like, you're at 92%, bro. Really? And the reason they did that is because for a long time we've all heard about the blue wall up north, right? Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, the blue wall they call it. Also, those places always go blue. Happened in the last cycle. They predicted this time around that they were going to win Minnesota, Wisconsin, all these blue states in the blue wall, Pennsylvania. Thus, a bunch of places predicted that. I didn't think so. Personally, I thought Pennsylvania was in play, Michigan was in play, Wisconsin was in play. I knew you had Ohio in the bag because J.D. Vance is the senator of Ohio. So I had no doubts they were going to get Ohio. And look, I made that prediction before, and he lost New York. But look at the actual map in New York. It's a sea of red. The only
Except
reason,
the cities, yeah.
Yeah, the only reason he loses is because he lost Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, and Buffalo. That's it. The three main counties that control the major parts that are important for the voter class, and these areas are controlled by heavy Democrats. And the population tends to lean more to the left. That's why he loses New York. But look at the rest of the map in New York. There's a lot of red in there. A lot. That means in the next maybe election or two, if Trump delivers, which I think he will, I do think New York is going to flip red. Because you could only fool the masses for so long. And New York has been fooled for years, since Giuliani left as mayor. They've been fooled for the last couple of decades with the left, with Obama and everything. But New York is a disaster. And if Trump goes in there and makes New York great again, it's going to go red real quick in 2028. On top of that, look at other places like Maine, for example. The only reason they lost Maine is because of Bangor and Portland. That's it. The rest is all red. So that's another place. And they don't need a lot of fixing because, Maine, for the most part, is a pretty decent looking area. But if he does good for the economy, brings inflation down, cost of living overall goes down, prices for goods are decent again, medicine is good, our veterans are taken care of in the next 3 or 4 years, and very important, we do things that the people want, like families involved in their kids' education, making sure their kids are not turned into other sexes without them knowing, or given drugs to, give them hormones without the parents. If he can make and deliver the promises he did, a lot of these blue areas up north are going to start turning red in the next couple of elections. And that's why I do think in the next 20 years, it's going to be getting harder and harder to have Democrats win because of that. And again, I think the media understands that, but they need the ratings, and they still hate Trump. But the ratings are more important, and the fact that they really effed it up and they know it. We, the people, are letting them know because they're not getting ratings unless it's about Trump. Okay? So they know they messed up. And while they can't just turn around and say, okay, we love Trump now, notice how they were very critical of Kamala and Joe Biden the last year and a half. They actually were more critical, especially when Kamala wouldn't come out and do any interviews or anything in the last few months. They're even questioning that on CNN and MSNBC. That tells you that not only did they hate her guts, but they still had to pretend they loved her and she was the greatest ever. You know, a month before she was declared the queen of the damned, they all said that she was the worst thing alive. But then they flipped the Two-Face flipping that coin in the air, and they made her the czar of the world. And she was the bestest ever. She was like Rey in Star Wars, just a bunch of sunshines and rainbows. And she was the bestest African American from Indian family, even though there's no Indian.
Oh, dear God. Oh, Angel,
But
you there. Ray from Star Wars.
yeah, I had to go there. I'm sorry, I had to go there. The reason I have to go there is because the Force, my friends, is not with these people right now. And in the next 4 to 8 years, the red wave is going to continue. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get better. And I'm telling you, America is, looking really bright now as to compare to the darkness and like the gothic future that we had in the idiocracy that we probably would have gotten with the Kamala Harris administration. We literally did what Trump did when they first tried to kill him. Gentlemen, we dodged a bullet right to the head. With that, Roger, Steve, and Roki, y'all decide who goes next.
Okay, I'm just going to throw in something since somebody brought up Star Wars, and I just saw this today. Get ready to cringe. We'll do even more cringing on 407. Yes, they have officially announced another Star Wars trilogy, and Kathleen Kennedy is supposed to be leading it. Translation, Kathleen Kennedy is not going anywhere immediately.
That's going to be 2 months. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God. But with that, Roger, the jury, because you were hosting, I know where you were. You were hosting a stream for almost the entire election night. I can't remember how long it went on, but it went on for a while. But your take.
It went on 11 hours, and I'm still rendering. I'm at the last part of it, so that's how long it is. I broke it up into 3-hour blocks, just so you guys know. That's pretty long. And for me, like I was gonna say some cool stuff, but like Angel freaking came in and just ruined it all. He said all the really, really cool stuff.
I do that sometimes. I apologize.
He's
Angel.
He did mention some stuff though that I did think that needed to be commented on, and it was like with the areas, because we all did it. I believe you were with us, Naroki, when we were going through and we were actually looking at the state by state voting on both sides. And that's the one thing that I really wanted to point out, because I've been mentioning it to you guys too about the last election where Trump had lost, even with Biden. The voting was very, very thin, even in the states that were won over by the Democrats. You know what I'm saying? We were going through it, and I mean, Trump had just as many votes as what freaking Kamala had in those Democratic state won elections, and that was something that I had noticed the first time, and I noticed it this time. The only thing that was different was the fact that I had you guys around that we could talk about it, because I really enjoyed that we could go through to the states and we could point out, this is how many districts were red and this is how many districts were blue, because that's another issue that I have, and how they rearrange the districts to where it suits them politically in that state. Our district here in Illinois got split in half because freaking it would give more power to the Democrats if it was done that way. And they split the half that has the conservatives over on this line and the ones that are Democrat on that line. And they gave more power to that district, And that's the way they work. They manipulate these districts in order to get the electoral votes, because they know that if they can get the popular votes for the election, then there's somebody that's just going to vote on their behalf. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not a big fan of the electoral vote either. I think that that's just a way of stifling people's freedoms. You know what I mean? It's like they they feel that they have to have somebody who's smart enough to vote on our behalf. So what they do is they count up these political parties' votes so that one person who's selected can vote for them. You know, first of all, I don't think that it should be freaking political parties having control over the voting system because that's not the way it was set up. I believe that it should be according to freaking each person's vote. Political parties are something that I know for a fact George Washington had a problem with, you know. And that's actually one thing that I agreed with the Confederacy about when they abolished political parties. I don't agree with all the other stuff, but that's one thing that they did. They took the Article of Confederation back, which abolished political parties. Well, that was actually added by them. But I think that freaking political parties are really what the big issue of all this is. And like we have all this corruption that's going on. And there's a reason for it. It's because we follow, you know, these political parties that are corrupt and they need to be changed, you know, and I'm saying all of them. There's not one corrupt political party. There's all of them. That's all it's about, you know. It's about groups of people rather than we the people, you know, and our, you know, the rights of the individual, you know. And I'm not talking about like freaking excessive rights. I'm talking about the rights that each individual was given according to the Constitution. They want to get rid of that, and they want to make it to where freaking your voice is heard more if you're a part of a lobbyist group or a special interest group or something like that. But you know, one person's view doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's like that's what they want. They want to get rid of that one person's right to freaking speak out and his voice being heard. And I find that the most disturbing about all this stuff. With this election, what I did notice was the fact that the votes were close. And what I also noticed was the fact that whenever it came to the election and who won, they didn't have a choice. You know, I think that if they would have tried to do something shifty, then there would have been a lot of hell breaking loose. I don't think this country could have handled another stunt like what was pulled last year or last election. Yeah, I don't think they could have handled that. So
Roger, let me get your opinion real quick on a question here. Do you think that this time around, you know, speaking of the polls in 2020 compared to now, we're looking at a $15 million, a 15 million vote difference from 2020 to 2024 for the Democrats. Trump got about 71, 72 million, and he did 74, I believe, in 2020. I mean, he barely lost any votes, but the Democrats did so much worse than before.
And it was because
what's your take on that?
My take on that is that's where the votes that was in their states, the ones that they actually won, those votes, okay, were freaking a lot lower than what they usually were. Like everybody was amped up for Biden. You know what I mean? They were going to the polls, they were voting and everything, and they even did that back with Obama. I mean, they were really amped up on trying to get.
Yeah, but even Obama was like what 63 million was the most or something like that.
I don't think freaking these Democrats were really eager to freaking vote this year. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. I think that they just didn't have it in them. And at the end of our show the other night, if you remember me saying, I give kudos to freaking the black community because I think they did the right thing. They knew what was going to happen if they voted for Kamala, and they did the right thing. And I believe that Trump even had a huge turnover when it came to the black community, like a lot more.
In black males, yeah. I mean, he had gotten 8% of the black male vote in 2020. Supposedly, from what some of the results have been coming in, he got about 38 to 40% this time around.
Yeah,
That's a huge swing
it's
up.
huge. And
Yeah.
like the landslide thing, we didn't know that it was going to be a landslide until right up towards the end, if you remember. And like that was a big, like that was when we decided it was time to freaking stop the show and go to bed, you know.
Yeah. Well, I knew once he locked in Pennsylvania, I was like, this is done. Yeah, the blue wall's over, and he's gonna get the other two states.
They
It's done.
just folded.
Yeah.
Everything folded, you know. So I mean, it's oh my goodness, Naroki's going to talk about the black man.
No, I think that's Pearson. I think he likes talking about the black man.
Well, at least it's not Rearson doing it, because like,
No. Fucking no. Fucking no.
Chocolate thunder.
I'm gonna pass for right now because I want to hear what Naroki has to say about black man.
But hold on. Speaking of chocolate thunder, where's Strawberry Swirl? Why isn't he on?
He's in the chat.
I know.
He's just acting all strange. I think.
Well, that's normally what he actually. He's Swirl, Strawberry Swirl.
Well, he got kind of disturbed last night because I was talking about those AI chicks and their fake boobs.
Oh, so good.
And he ended up freaking just giving like this funny face just as his thing froze up.
You said the magic word boobs. I found a rather curious boobs commentary this afternoon. 40% of Australian chicks have boobs D or larger.
Ooh, good day, mate.
Love it.
Throw another booby on the Barbie.
I have actually noticed that a lot of Australian chicks have really voluptuous bodies. And Rearson knows the one I'm talking about. Rearson knows where I'm talking about. We had a lot of Australians where we lived in the 90s. Yeah, I noticed a lot.
Yeah, one at a time, gentlemen. One at a time.
I noticed that a lot of the Australian chicks had nice chests. Like, not super huge, but I noticed a lot of Australian chicks were really curvy. Rearson can kind of back me up on that one.
Oh, fuck. Aussie chicks. You want to talk about pretty much the easiest women on the planet? Go to Australia. You can probably fuck your brains out. It's going to be a lot of one-night stands. And they're going to complain, where are the good fucking men? Oh, I cannot handle listening to a fucking Aussie accent now. Oh, Jesus, Mary Joseph.
I love them.
You can love them. Go there. You can.
Oh, dude! If you want to meet Australian chicks, go to Whistler or Banff in Canada. They're all over the goddamn place.
Yep.
Well, you know what? You know why they call it the country down under?
Exactly. Anyway, I'm going to be commenting on the black male voters.
Yes.
On the after section. Rearson, yes. The floor is yours.
Tell us about the brothers, Wilson. Tell us about the brothers.
Oh, that's I know anything about the brothers. I don't really know anything about the sisters either. Sorry, sisters.
Sisters, man. You gotta say it like this. Sisters.
I'm too goddamn fucking white for my own goddamn fucking good. But
he is Caucasian. Yes, he is Caucasian.
Well, I was gonna say, and Naroki, I believe, saw me when I was last. I think I was growing a goatee when I last saw Naroki, but I can't remember. Yeah, it's in there. I'm actually gonna post a picture first, but anyway, the night of, I jumped on the pleb on YouTube, and the guy is fucking hilarious. Oh my god. He was a Canadian trucker from Montreal, and earlier this year I did meet Moose on the Loose, Again, another YouTuber, really humble guy too. And things with the pleb went fucking sideways that night because he brought in a conversation with another Canadian YouTuber, Mr. Sunshine Baby, and oh my god, it went sideways and it went south. And I didn't listen to that part of the conversation because I didn't care. I was legitimately doing other things that night. But I was giving a friend a play-by-play as things were being updated. As things were being updated in terms of how many electoral votes Trump got to how many electoral votes that Kamala got. Now, back for the 2016 election, when I was still working at Shaw, I did a speech with my local the Shaw group, Toastmasters, about how the Electoral College works, because up until that point, I had no fucking clue. And typically speaking, it comes down to one vote for the college for every 720,000, maybe 750,000 people in each state. Now, Maine was already brought up. Maine is a little bit different in the regard that they actually have to give, and I think Maine's got the right idea. How many votes go towards the Democrat candidate to the Republican candidate? I think it needs to be shown. My apologies, however that may affect things now to then, or whatever the case may be. And California won't be so fucking blue over the last, I don't know, fucking 20 to 25, maybe 30 years, something like that. And again, my feeling that the Orange Cheeto, Orange Man Bad, was going to get it. But he needed to sit on the sidelines, needed to wait and see. There's a friend that was asking me about the election, and I told her that, simply put, I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm not going to engage in it because it's out of my hands, because, I'm north of the border, although I'm looking to move south of the border as soon as possible with some formal education behind me to finally get out of Soviet Kazakhstan. But that's another story. We'll talk about that on the after effects. But as it started to happen, and I started to see that initial wide gap between the left and the right, between the blue and the red, or the red and the blue, my feeling at the time was like, bitch is dead. she ain't going to win. And again, with the lead up with O'Keefe Media Group, or before that was Project Veritas, and 1,000 or 10,000 mules, and everything else that was in place before. And Naroki brought it up, which was with Lara Trump taking over, shall we say, and going after every single little fucking thing that there was any sort of election discrepancy. I remember the polling stations, the voting machines, where the Wi-Fi was mysteriously open when it should not be, and it's clearly defined within the requirements of the election process. So, to me, not to my associates on Crackbook, who are typically on the left, typically female, and typically fucking ignorant, that just don't see what the hell is going on. Oh, good lord. Hide that face.
Look at that. The Prince of Egypt is in town.
That's very solely political. And I'm not the mother. Love you, but just, yeah. Okay, now that I'm blocking that out.
Right them. Damn near killed him.
Oh God, how do you know you're dealing with a bunch of guys when you get raked over the coals? Raked over the coals? Yeah, I'm sure if you're into that kind of shit. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so to me, there have been a lot of things that have been building up and building up and building up, and when the time comes, and I'll get around to this for the post-election shit that has to go through. There are a lot of people that will not listen to me. I already know that. And I'm going to put this out there when the time is appropriate on Crackbook. But.
Well, did you say crack? Because that's going to make Hunter Biden come out. You got to be careful with those words.
Well, it can't be any worse than me losing my first Crackbook account because of his fucking laptop, which was proven over the last few months ago that Facebook was capitulating with the intelligence agencies, the three-letter agencies, to crack down on because, again, I had to submit photo ID of my driver's license to get my Crackbook account reactivated because it was suspended for strange fucking reasons. And I wish I was making this up because I'm not. So I lost that account. I lost all the people that were there. I got most of them back. So now, in light of everything else that's happened and the like, I just don't. When I left the Skype call with Roger hosting and Jaffe and Angel and Naroki and whoever else was there, I left knowing that Trump was pretty much going to win. And it came down to what the fuck's going on in Pennsylvania. But apparently there were bomb threats and a couple of other things that were going on. You know, the usual typical shenanigans. And one of the channels that I am following on Telegram, it came down to that apparently they knew what they had to deal with. And I'm talking about the White Hats and bomb threats or unsecure networks or whatever. And the message that came through at the time is that, okay, you've been told to go somewhere else to vote, get your sorry ass and you go over there to vote. And that apparently, I can't confirm, I won't deny, but that apparently was a white hat operation. So, can I confirm? No. Can I deny? Nope. I have no idea. But it feels like things were finally. Don't fucking come to Canada. Whoopi, you can keep that sorry old black ass of yours in fucking New York or wherever the fuck you live. God damn it. Fucking go to the Enterprise. Fuck off. Anyway. Who posted that? That was you, Angel, wasn't it? It would have been. Oh, no, it was Naroki. No sex for you. Well, we don't have any sex for us anyway. Oh, fuck. I'm looking forward. I am looking forward to this.
I am going to be covering that in the after section.
He's excited. He's just posting away on all that shit. I was like, he's excited as hell, dude.
He's got a woody woodpecker right now.
Double fisting, boys. Anyway.
Without baby oil. Sorry, Diddy.
Well, I'm putting baby oil. I'm putting actually vegetable oil in my beard now. I think it's making a difference. Anyway, so yeah.
Good man.
So the night of November 5th of November, whatever the whole fucking thing is from the
Yeah, the 5th of November.
Yeah, exactly. Could not have been well planned. Could not have been more well planned. Oh, and that's the other thing as well too.
That's true, man. I didn't put that together. Shame on me. The 5th of November. Yeah.
Dick Algeier, who's a military grade remote viewer, back in 2008, 2009, did a remote viewing, and it came to what's his name? Trump had the view at the interview with Joe Rogan.
Oh, okay. The interview, yeah.
Yep. Rogan, it was foreseen over 12 years ago that Rogan would have an interview with the president or presidential candidate that would tip the scales. So,
okay. Now, do you mean that because he's fat, or like on a political scale?
On the political scale, but at the political scale, Trump.
You can go either or with Trump. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that was back in 2009. So Trump didn't give away any intention of running for the Republicans or whatever else. So when Rogan gave his endorsement, Elon Musk gave his endorsement, and everything else that happened just up to and leading up to that point, it was basically game, set, and match, and it was done. So these are things that I've been listening to over the last couple of weeks leading up to November 5th. And I was sure, but I was in like the 98, 99% sure category. Like I said, I had the nervous, anxious, anxiety. Pearson, just shut up. It's going to happen. But just shut up. You can't do anything about it because you're north of the border. You can't vote. So sit on the sidelines and just wait. So that's basically what I did. So the night of, with Roger and Jaffe and Angel and myself and Naroki and whoever else may have been there before or after. And then I tuned out and then I was done. So I went to bed that night. And then in the morning, I saw the whole confirmation. Has Arizona and Nevada confirmed yet, or are they still, quote, counting? Angel?
Oh no, it's been confirmed. He got
all of the swing states, like all of the swing states went to Trump. Yeah. All of them.
So Nevada.
And he got not only that, the blue wall up north. He took that, dude.
Yeah.
That's been decades there.
Walls.
Yeah.
Balls to the wall.
So those are your neighbors. Those are the ones that adopted your language. Don't you know?
Oh,
yes.
Shut up.
Don't you know? Don't you know?
He's because the truth is.
You go about it.
They have all of that lingo there, dude. I'm like, are you?
What the hell was it? I mean, even in walls, balls.
El pellejo en el penny es bien poco.
Like,
well, was it even in Walls, the county that? Oh fuck, Tim Walls' family even basically said, "Fuck no, don't vote."
Tampon Timmy, yeah, Tampon Timmy, baby.
Good lord! I mean, if your family's not going to fucking endorse you, you're done.
Yeah.
It's fucking over. Now, maybe I'm one of the few people that saw that. I don't know.
Well, I couldn't say that 100% though, because look at the RFK situation. The Kennedys completely disavowed him. Even like the younger grandkids of JFK are like, yeah, we're not with that because we're idiots. And RFK Jr., but God bless this man. Like he stood his ground. He knows he's right. He knows these people are completely off their rockers, and if the rest of the Kennedy family can't see it, it's because they're getting they're becoming radicals themselves. Because if John Kennedy and RFK Sr. were alive, guess what, guys? They'd probably be turning into the red also, because even though they were Democrats, they were very close to the center back then.
Well, see, you got to also take something else into consideration about Democrats. Democrats are freaking blind following the blind. They're just blind followers. Like, there's a lot of them that don't even care who's running for president. If it's a Democrat, they're voting for him.
Yeah, but
That's the problem.
I think that happens though a lot with both party lines to begin with. I mean, for myself personally speaking, up here we have Pierre Poilievre, and the expectation is that he's going to be, and by his own admission, when I'm elected prime minister, not quite to that degree, but close enough to it. And he's throwing that in Parliament, which is, I'm a little curious to see how the parliamentary system is to the congressional system of the U.S. to Canada to the UK, but he's throwing that out there, and the current polls in Canada, it's going to be a super majority of conservative seats.
That's what happened here.
Yeah, but well, the thing though is that, I mean, when it comes to the Canadian election, if we're going to have one, and I've got my doubts, I'd like to have the two of you and maybe V on as well too, to try to at least get you guys prepped to try to understand how the Canadian electoral system works.
It's going to be rough
than what you guys have. I mean, we have.
Well, the electoral system is very simple. It's basically the importance of every state in the union. The more important the state, the more delegates they can get, and that'll give them the numbers based on the population, the importance of what they bring to the union, things like that. That's why California, Florida, Texas, they have so many,
New York, Illinois, Pennsylvania, yeah,
they have all like the main products in America come from these areas, right? These are the hotspots, so you get a lot more.
Yeah, here's a curious little detail that I found out yesterday. California lost an electoral college seat, and Texas gained 2 over the past 4 years.
Yep.
So this before any of you actually go big deal, California has been continuously going up since it became a state. This is the first time California has actually had less electoral seats. Yeah. Just stop and think about that, because we've talked about the failure of California before. Rearson, do you have anything more to add, or can we move into the after?
I'm pretty much about done, so let's move into the after.
And before you stop, I want to let you know, me and Mark has been doing a lot of research concerning the English parliamentary, so I'd be willing to do that.
Cool.
If you want to go that way, because I am interested in that stuff.
Well, pardon me for saying this, Roger, but you guys are going to have to take note of Canada, because once you get your shit settled down, if Canada's not settled down, you're going to have to deal with that pretty damn fucking quick, because we're right on your fucking northern border. Just saying. So
how long is Trudeau going to be there? Another 2 years, right?
November next year is the longest he can go.
Oh, okay.
He's got maybe just a little over a year. I don't want to get too much into the Canadian stuff. Jagmeet Singh, who is the leader of the NDP, who currently holds the balance of power, he reaches his pension qualification February of next year. After that, I'm thinking suddenly that the NDP suddenly discovers its balls, and they're going to probably call an election before November of next year. That's my gut feeling.
And the other thing about that is, I'm just going to throw this in right now as well to kind of complicate things up here in Canada, is that they're looking to change the date of the election by another week, so that way enough MPs can get their members of parliament, your congressman, shall we say, equivalent, will qualify for their pension as well too. So
messed up. That really is.
Oh, it is. I mean, as corrupt as the USA may be, I think Canada is actually worse, much worse.
Dude, we have an immigration problem in Canada that makes the one in terms of proportional numbers is worse than the one in the state, and we don't even want to go there. When we get to the Canadian election, we can go there. But let's move on to the next. Let's move on to the next thing here.
I'm good.
Okay, so now we get into the after. Oh my God! Let the salt flow. Oh my!
I'm gonna pop a boner on this one. Just saying.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't care.
We will discuss Angel's boner in the afterthoughts.
Let's not discuss Angel's boner.
No. I'll discuss my own boner.
Now, if V was here, we could talk about his boner, but not freaking Angel's. Okay.
Is that a race thing? Because
No,
V thinks that what Lizzo is attractive, and I'm like, if you drank several bottles of vodka and popped your eyes out, maybe she'd be attractive.
I'd rather become a priest and go celibate the rest of my life than ever have any sexual intercourse.
I will never watch Star Wars again.
Dude, I'll cut my own dick off to avoid fucking this.
I pointed this out in a freaking stream last night, and I'm going to point it out here, okay? Now, Ishtar was fat. She had shit fucking hanging out all over, and dudes loved her, dude. If you've ever seen statues of Ishtar, then you'd know she was a fat freaking woman.
Ishtar was curvy. First of all, one, Ishtar was curvy, and two, the beauty standards back then, if you had a little bit of fat on your body, that usually indicated that you came from wealth and status, because only like the really wealthy actually were eating enough to accumulate anything close to a little bit of fat. So that usually indicated that you were from the upper classes if you were fat like that.
When they saw you, they'll be like, "Hey, fat guy, how'd you do that? How could we do that?"
Okay,
yeah,
so correct me if I'm wrong, but is a woman's breast typically about 2/3 of it is not made out of fat?
Well, you want to suck.
Yeah, but it's fat in the right place, though.
I'm not saying it's not in the wrong place, but
it's titty meat. It has to be a little.
No, see, you want to suck on those. That's what it's all about.
True. Yes.
You don't want to eat their boobs. You want to freaking suck on them.
Right.
Yep. Okay. So, all right. Yep. So there we go. Our one standard, no standards has been fully achieved.
But he is correct, though, Naroki. You got to stroke the breast and lick it gently, and just caress it and make sweet love to the nipple area. Just get the nipple.
Or go to
Harrison started, dude. He had to mute out.
I saw that. Yeah.
Knocking the table.
He's making babies.
Okay. All right. Let's get on with the.
He's making babies right now. He's baking babies.
All right. Okay. Let's get on with the next topic here, because we're already past the 2-hour mark. All right. So this is the Let the Salt Flow section of the show. Let's try not to gloat too much, although we probably won't be able to help ourselves here.
You're really going to say that to us after the election we just had, man? Especially me.
Oh, God. Jimmy, the one thing the first thing that strikes my mind is that Jimmy Kimmel cried at a show. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, Jimmy Kimmel cried. I saw some very interesting Paul Joseph Watson. There were a few people that had compilations of TikTokers absolutely losing their shit. And we're not even, that wasn't even 24 hours out. I saw multiple posts on both Instagram, and I did pay attention to Instagram and X of women posting up stuff like, "Oh, I'm going to lose my driver's license." There's a story about this one. There was this one post. I swear to God, I actually saw this.
Jesus.
This one woman, yeah, she posted it up, driving one last time before Trump takes my driver's license away. I wish I was making that up. I wasn't. There's another post by it.
Go to the DMZ and fucking surrender your driver's license and be done with it.
Yeah. There was another one with a black woman, and she said, "I'm eating my fried chicken in my favorite place before they ban me because of my race." And I'm like, Trump didn't.
Yo, you serious about that?
No, I'm serious. I actually saw that on it.
I'm stepping right into a stereotype. Hold on. Yeah, a black woman said she's going to a chicken place because they're gonna ban her from a chicken. Yo, woman, why are you walking right into a stereotype joke? See how you left me.
Yeah, that's just a level of stupid I've seen in the past 24 hours. I mean, we haven't even gotten started.
That's
saw
that's new low.
All of the freakouts were like, "Oh well, fuck you for voting Trump." Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, you should. There was one guy, "Oh, I voted for women. I voted for freedom. I voted for democracy." I'm like, oh
good God, that fucking idiot! Oh my God,
the one who had the seal of the president of the United States test posted on his head. Yeah, that guy was just fucking pathetic.
All the males that are springing out are pathetic. Just
the black women that are fucking just freaking out on guys, on black men for going as strongly for Trump as they did.
Well, fucking let them go for it.
And I'm like,
ladies, go for it.
You know,
you're not attractive.
And it's like also the number of just women in general freaking out because of how strongly Trump went for the guys, how strongly the men voted for Trump. And this is the reason why I posted up that sex boycott. I mean, the sex strike. And I'm like, that, because that was literally a thing that I saw this I actually saw this almost as from liberal women, almost as much as I saw people freaking out over Trump. Like, they are actually serious about this. They're going to go on a sex strike because so many men voted for Trump. There was more than a few women who just like literally just lost their shit over the manosphere. And here was the thing about it. I had to point this out to some of the women that were freaking out on manosphere, but it was like, I thought you said the manosphere was just a bunch of online incels that didn't have any influence over anything. So which one is it? I didn't get an answer on that. But the sex strike. Now we have covered the sex strike before. Alyssa Milano tried doing one. I posted up a MGTOW symbol and like several hundred laugh emojis on her Twitter feed when she suggested this. My personal take on that particular aspect of this is, oh, please be that stupid. You're going to go on a sex strike. It's not like it was 20 years ago where a sex strike might have actually had an impact, right? Like, if this sex strike thing actually turns out to be a serious thing, where do you think these guys are going to go? Where do you think he's going to look for information to deal with it? They're going to go straight to the fucking manosphere. So sex strike,
or they're going to look online. What am I in the mood for? Black chick, white chick. Oh, for me, it's like, Asian. Oh, she looks good enough. Yeah, sure, I'll take that.
Oh yeah, passport bros. They're gonna look in the manosphere. It's like, I mean,
Dumb cunts.
It will be the biggest blessing for the manosphere, and I will actually have some commentary about the manosphere on my closing thoughts. But the number of women who are freaking out because of whatever right they supposedly lost, and it's sort of like, and I'm like, with a lot of them, it's sort of like, yeah, Trump was president.
Yeah.
2016 to 2020. If he wanted to take those rights away, he would have done it back then.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He didn't even get rid of gay marriage.
Yep.
No, he didn't care about that shit. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
Let the faggots get married. I don't care.
Oh, they're also gonna be. It's amazing how they haven't tried to bring up Agenda 2025 and say this is what Trump is going to do. I have not seen a single mention of Agenda 2025, which was a big AstroTurf campaign, which didn't have old people. And I probably should have mentioned this at the start. There were people online who fought tooth and nail and insisted that Project 2025 was actually real. They're going to look really stupid when they find out that it wasn't an actual thing. But what I think really stood out was the number of sites, number of videos that I saw that were compilations, and we're going to see a lot more of them as this gets on, of just people losing their crap. Now, there were a couple of other really interesting things that happened, and I just need to consider this. Hamas is suddenly ready to negotiate.
Yeah.
Zelensky and Putin are mysteriously now ready to negotiate.
Israel?
Yeah. Well, Israel will probably go along with it.
Yeah, because remember Soleimani and al-Baghdadi. That's all they remember.
Well, see, they know that Trump is he's not a warmonger. Okay, so this shit's getting shut down.
No, he's not a warmonger, but he'll bomb the shit out of you and your family if you act up. So you better act right.
So I mean, China hasn't said anything yet, but it's probably a fair bet at this point that Xi Jinping has probably started telling the Chinese military to back down.
Yeah.
Again, another one that was supposedly almost ready to go was Venezuela and Suriname. You can absolutely fucking bet Venezuela is backing the fuck away from that. Absolutely. Iran is the only one that hasn't said or done anything yet. Trump has had reasonably good relations, so I'm probably going to say that Iran and Israel are probably also gonna, Trump didn't start any wars, but if you try to start something, he will definitely finish it.
He did
so
that.
there was that, and then of course there was Trump's lawyers telling the New York State Attorney General that if she did not back the fuck off, that they were going to start investigating. They were going to use the apparatus of the federal state to investigate her ass and fucking throw her in jail.
Yeah.
That was Jack Smith is on the way out. Jack Smith is apparently on the way out. Trump is not going to get the chance to fire him. Jack Smith is going to get let go before this happens. Jack Smith, by the way, is in a world of fucking trouble because he's got some connections with J6. By the way, I've also seen rumblings in the last 2 days. Trump is, this is probably going to be more for the afterthoughts, but Trump is going to have to, there is definitely going to be a launching investigation into J6. They've already gone on the record twice telling fucking illegal immigrants to start fucking packing their shit and going home. Those assholes in Aurora, Colorado that have been holding on to that complex, man, their ass is grass. If I was, I'm just saying, I cannot speculate, but if I wanted a good, solid political victory right off the bat, I would send the feds into that apartment complex in Aurora, Colorado, and I have those guys in cuffs and jizz and bait. What I would do is I would literally throw them. I wouldn't even give them I would just throw them on a plane, fly them back, and then we just like stop on the step and just sort of like coast along on the tarmac, and I would be
Playing it out in his
kicking, and I would
plane.
just be throwing them out of the plane.
Ah,
That's what
but
I would be doing. Then I would just take off.
but
He's
here's the
just
question though,
he's
yo,
just
would you
playing
do
it
it?
out in his head,
Hold up,
dude.
but would you do it day one or day two? Because I think day one, what he really should do is he should get Nancy Pelosi and throw her ass in like the biggest, baddest jail in Guantanamo Bay and make sure that a fucking witch from San Francisco gets waterboarded on a daily basis.
Oh,
No,
Robert
I
F.
mean, you two understand though. Like Naroki has like played this shit out in his mind, dude.
I
It
know,
doesn't matter if
it's
it's like
scary.
1 or 2 days, dude. It's like he's already.
Robert F. Kennedy has already made his plan. He made his announcements and plans clear because he's going to be Secretary of Health. Again, I will go into I will get into Rachel Levine in the afterthoughts, but I mean
Uh,
the party is basically over for Big Pharma from what it looks like. Same thing with education. I'm guessing they're going to start looking at he has said this. He's going to be looking at all of the universities. He mentioned he's going to start with Harvard. He's going to be looking at all of them. And if they are not about education and just about indoctrination, their fucking funding's going to get cut. That's also floated across. That's also floated across in the last couple of days. Trying to think what else is. I think that's basically most of it. The thing that really stands out is, and Trump's attorneys have said this, like we're not playing around this time, right? Like we know who we can count on, we know who we can't count on. Trump is going to be bringing in the right people from the beginning, so they're not going to have people on the inside. And he also passed that law just before he left office that enables him to start firing people several layers down in government than what happened before. So they won't have the ability, the unelected bureaucrats don't have the levity to pull off the same stuff that they did 4 years ago. So they're not screwing around. They won't be nearly as nice. Trump has got a few, and again, I mean, not that I would blame him. Trump has got a few scores to settle. In fact, I remember seeing interviews before the election where there were people in the press saying, "Oh, you're not going to go after all. You're not going to settle all scores, are you?" And it's sort of like he didn't say yes, he didn't say no, but there are definitely some people that are that are going to come to him. I also have some afterthoughts about J6 investigations. A certain individual by the name of Ray Epps has got some very serious questions to answer, but I will leave that for the afterwards. But that's what I saw. What specifically Cap saw, what I saw, there was a lot of women freaking the fuck out. And it was mostly women. There were a few guys, but there was mostly women freaking the fuck out. Mostly liberal feminist women. The sex boycott and certain people in Trump's administration.
Did you say the sex boycott?
Yeah, a sex
yeah.
boycott. I cannot laugh hard enough at that one.
Hold on, guys. You're talking about women have a pact with like their vaginas that they're gonna have a sex boycott because Trump won?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out, ladies, when your pussy starts itching and you want some of that loving. I give that 2 weeks tops. Maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a MGTOW, I cannot laugh hard enough at that one.
Yeah, hard enough. Get it, guys?
You will. Anyway, that's what Lesbos looks like?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like a freaking cunt. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So. Yeah. It's like It's as a MGTOW, I'm just laughing my ass off at this because it's like, go ahead, be stupid enough to do something like that. One, it's not going to work.
No.
But second of all, hold on a second.
By the way, you can also always go to a sex expert like Stormy Daniels and not have to worry about wifey until she gets her shit together.
But
I hear Stormy needs money, so you might want to hit her up.
Like there's
being branded.
there's a fully active manosphere, which I will also talk about in the afterthoughts. But that's what I saw in the first couple of days. Some good news. Trump definitely said some stuff that needed to be said at this point. And if Kelso was here, he would be pointing this out. So I'm gonna be a bit of a devil's advocate here. Kelso will remind us all, and I'm going to have to point this out, that so far all it is talk. I hate being don't be a Debbie Downer at the end. But yeah, I saw some very encouraging stuff. I saw some just absolutely stupid fucking shit about women just freaking out about losing their driver's license and not being able to eat fried chicken in restaurants.
That's the best one, though. I gotta say, Narok, you gotta admit that's the best. That right there that's the icing on the cake.
He said Debbie. He said Debbie Downer.
Yes, I got it. But that's that's the cherry on the top. You know?
Yeah, so that's what I've seen in the last three. That's what I've seen so far in the last 36 to 48 hours. It's going to be interesting, but I'm going to save the last section for the afterthought. So with that, we'll turn it over to Angel.
Oh, actually, I want to hear what Roger has to say before I go. Roger, you kick it off, bro.
Well, the only thing that really struck me about it was two things, and the first one was because of this conversation. I want to tell you guys a little story about a girl called Honey.
Yeah.
It's a collaborative novel that was written by Lawrence Brooke and Donald D. Westlake. And the story follows Honor Mercy Bain, who takes on the name Honey after being disowned by her parents. She becomes a prostitute and falls in love with Richie, an AWOL Air Force cadet. They try to build a new life together in New York City, but their relationship is tested when another man enters the picture. It's a true tale of love, betrayal, and survival in the gritty streets of New York. Okay, so that's the first part.
Was that AI generated? Just
that. I was thinking the same thing there. You hitting on the head there.
It's an actual story. So, but the thing that really stuck out to me that I'm wondering about the aftermath is, well, actually, there's some of it that's actually true. So far, after the elections were finalized, Donald Trump won the elections, the Justice Department began to evaluate how to wind down on two of his federal criminal charges that are against him. They're dropping them left and right. Now, the only thing that they think that can be held against them is the charges that are the 34 felony counts that are in New York. And that's for the hush money payments and stuff like that. Now, that's just for dropping the cases.
No, but here's the thing. If he pardons himself,
that's what I'm getting ready to get into.
Get into it.
If he does pardon himself, it'll be final. But the thing you got to take into considering is no standing president has ever pardoned himself. So this will be monumental if he does that. And they're thinking that there'll be controversy that leads to like a constitutional crisis, which I don't agree with. You know, I think in this like situations like now, the first thing he should do is pardon himself, and the second thing he needs to do is he needs to freaking do an investigation like he promised to do after his first election. You know, these people need to be investigated and they need to be brought up on charges. So that's the thing that stuck out to me, the serious stuff. Now, the freaking story I told you about, that's about a girl called Honey, and she's a real honey. She's from New York, and her name is Honor Mercy Bain. She takes it up the butt.
Oh yeah, no like Vaseline.
Like Rear.
No.
Okay, I'm done.
No Kim suit thing.
Yeah. So is Bruce. Get it?
No, Angel, you're up. And
well,
I'm right behind you, baby.
Right behind
you.
You want to be behind me
No standard
all
vote.
day long. Come on. Look, all I'm going to say is that repercussions have to be done. Uh, I don't want him to go full bloody, like on a massacre because there's bigger things that we have to get done in this country. There are bigger fish to fry, but I will stand by when I say Nancy Pelosi has to be held accountable. And I say this especially with the January 6th stuff. She is literally on video admitting that she is at fault. And yet we've had, what, almost 4 years of it's Trump, 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 Trump. Because he said, peacefully and patriotically make yourselves heard. On a rally that he was invited to speak on, not one that he actually participated in creating. So when you see the optics, because I saw the entire speech, his and the ones previously and everything, if you look at that, at no point in my mind am I saying, you know what we need to do? Get in that capital and start capping motherfuckers. No, I never thought that. I thought that was a beautiful speech, and the one they gave earlier with that one, I think it was Van Jones or one of these cats, where he switched to Republican. Remember, I'm coming home, baby. I'm coming to the Republican Party. Whoever that guy was. But I mean, there was at no point did Trump even allude to anything, going the way it went on the Capitol. And again, when you look at what happened on January 6th, it wasn't as bad as they make it out to be. It's like, this is the worst thing since the Holocaust. No, chill out, Nancy Pelosi. This is not worse than 9/11. This is not worse than even like the Yankees game the other day when the fan reached in and tried to like take the ball. That's worse than what happened on the Capitol. Okay, Mike Tyson, what he's going to do to Jake Paul, that's going to be worse than what happened on the Capitol. Literally, it's the people's building. They went in and they literally expressed their freaking, and that's for you, Roger, voices, because guess what? They were pissed. They knew it was stolen. We all know. I'll go on record, censor me if you want. Hey, I don't care. I know it was stolen in 2020. Everybody realized back then what happened. And this is why Trump kept the 70 million, 72 million was the last count, from 74 to 72. Are you serious? And it was like 72 and change. So it's like really like 1.8 million that you lost from 20. So that tells you that all the Capitol shenanigans, the January 6th, all these trials and tribulations they put this man through has done nothing to deter people from seeing what it is. The left are power hungry. They did everything in their power, even tried to murder this man. And damn it, if this wasn't a comic book, I swear to you, he might be a Kryptonian named Superman Kal-El. Because what they put this man through, what he survived, is amazing. To get shot and get up and have the flag behind you and you're saying fight, 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 that's divine intervention. That's biblical. That's comic book. That's iconic. That's America at its finest. And what needs to happen, first and foremost, Nasty Pelosi needs to be investigated. The January 6 people need to be completely pardoned. And I'm talking about every single one who's sitting in prison, except for the Ray guy, the guy that got a slap on the wrist, and he could go home. And he actually was on video saying, "Let's go into the Capitol. Let's go into." I mean, that guy needs to be in prison and needs to be investigated. And we need to investigate Maureen Bowser, the D.C. mayor. We need to investigate Fannie Willis and the whole shenanigans in Atlanta. We need to investigate these trials, the DAs. And by the way, the cases in New York are all going to go away. That's already been said. Jack Smith is done. That's already been said. The Mar-a-Lago document case, as that was done before the election. That's not happening anymore. You see what I'm saying? All these cases are made up with bullshit, and they're all falling apart before the man is even in office. And I think he's going to govern as the president and do right by the people, but he's going to appoint special counsels to look at each one of these acts that they did, which was criminal. And they need to prosecute these people, make an example out of them, so in the future, we don't have people trying to do the same crap that these people did. There's no immunity act for Nancy Pelosi and for what she's done. So I urge Donald Trump, as soon as you're in there, start appointing your counsels to investigate these people. Make sure they are prosecuted to the extent power of the law. Exactly what they tried to do to him, he needs to have done to them. This has been what really they try to say he did because they project. This is really a RICO act, what they did. Okay, and it includes the media, it includes the Congress, the Democrats, the Republican rhinos like Liz Cheney. This is big, and if I'm Trump and I'm at the point where I've been shot at and I've gone through all this stuff, damn right I'm gonna want some payback. And if he goes soft on them, it's because this man has a bigger heart than I do. Because I will go after every one of them and end them. Making an example out of these people so again it doesn't happen in the future. Remember the saying, learn from your history so you're not condemned to repeat it. Make that a sticking point in this historical moment. That you cannot do this to anybody in this country what they've done to this guy. I don't care if he's a billionaire, a trillionaire, or whatever. Doesn't matter. He's a human being just like the rest of us, and they've put this man through hell over the last decade, all because he wanted to help make America great again. That, folks, is criminal. I'm done.
All right. So this is post-election, correct?
Yeah, post-election the last 2 days.
Post-election,
Yep.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I can say on my Crackbook feed, I've got 2 women. One, 2 of them one I've worked with directly, another one indirectly, and the one indirectly was in my Shaw Toastmasters group. And the one indirectly was just bitch. She's a bigger girl, so maybe V, and she's white, so V would probably enjoy fucking her because.
Yes, I agree. He would.
He likes the bigger girls, and the paler the better. And as far as I'm concerned, mentally and emotionally, this woman is ruined.
V's favorite book, and it says it because it's like he decided like how he likes his women is behold a pale horse.
William Cooper, yeah, we'll leave that one alone. Anyway, she was going on recently enough about it's like, well, I don't care how unqualified Kamala was. It's like, no, the woman was unfucking qualified. She presented nothing that anybody with a fucking lick of common sense would support. She's all about bringing in more taxes, make things more expensive, making, further breaking down the system that was already working well enough in a rigged system to begin with. Trump made it work. Like, fault the guy for all you want, and, he's a liar, and he's a cheater, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, bitch, you need to fucking sit down. I'm going to duct tape your fucking mouth. With
well, I wouldn't go that far, but I'll be like, yeah, he's my cheater, and what, bitch? I love the man.
Well, I mean, fuck, even my spouse has basically said, You know, if you're gonna find another woman to fuck, I don't really care. It's as long as you're gonna stay here. So
I'm like, was she legal? Yes. Were they consenting adults? Yes. Then I don't give a fuck. Remember Bill Clinton?
exactly.
Yes. So why are you bitching?
Yeah. Did you have a problem with Bill Clinton? That depends on what your definition of is. You know that sort of
I
thing.
did not have sexual relations with that woman. Hillary does have a penis, though.
Now that I think about it, I'm going to throw that back at her. So, you know, Bill cheated on Hillary with Monica. Do you have a problem with that? Or is
I
your
put a
prejudice?
cigar in her vagina.
The thing about this, though, is really fucked up because it's the victim of the blackmail who's getting freaking charged criminally. Okay.
Well,
he paid hush money, which makes him the victim, and the one who wants the hush money is Stormy Daniels.
Yeah,
but Stormy signed an affidavit that there was apparently nothing going on between her and Trump. It was between her and Cohen.
Yeah, and like that, there's no rape. So what? How did it even
the
award
victim
this?
is literally being charged with a criminal offense.
So that's not going anywhere. They're going to give them that, bond money back. They're not going to give her the $450 million for what? Nothing happened. There's no rape.
No, and I think the whole thing with Stormy and Trump was, like I said before, it was the whole thing that was all drummed up with between him and Jeff Sessions. We're going to kick up a storm. I'm going to kick up a storm. You're going to kick up a storm. I'm going to insult you. And we know what's really going on. Blah, 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 blah. And I think Stormy Daniels, or whatever the fuck her name is, she's got enough of a level head to her, unlike fucking most females right now. God, dumb cunts. All of them. Fuck.
Which is
Tell us how you really think they are, Steve.
Well, at the end of the day, if they're going to go on quote strike, go for it. You know what? Because there's going to be enough fucking women that are going to just kind of go, well, the economy's gone to shit. The only thing I have to offer is my cunt, so I'm going to offer that, and I'll get paid for it. What was the meme that I saw? What women think they're going to do when the apocalypse hits? They're all going to be out in. They're going to be living off the grid. They're going to have their bows and arrows and blah, 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 blah. What are they going to do? They're going to be fucking Venezuelan whores. That's what they're going to be. Pretty much each and every one of them.
God bless them.
Good times.
Aren't we lucky we got them good times?
So
freaking, I miss Rerun, dude. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And freaking Fat Albert was a freaking cop. They freaking stole Fat Albert from freaking Rerun big time, dude. I'm just gonna put it out there.
They have
100% yes.
They have Fat Albert. It's just Fat Alberta named Lizzo.
Well, I mean, I was just
but that's more modern. We're talking about like the 70s, bro. Come on.
We're talking about Rerun, dude.
Hey.
Run this epic though. You gotta give them, props.
Oh
yeah,
God.
smokes.
But the other woman that I knew, and I worked with her, and I love her. I really do love this woman. She's great. She had to go back to England, and she wanted to live here in Canada. And what the hell did she put up? America. It's one of those. Think smart because you're going to regret it. I'm looking at that and just going, oh, and she's a lesbian. And she never hit it. And that was fine.
Wrong with that. I love lesbians.
Not this one. I love her. I don't love her that much.
Wow.
But,
I mean, does she share?
Oh, I'm sure.
If she shares, freaking love her to death, dude.
Yeah, dude. Hit it from the back, baby.
No.
Your girlfriend get front. It's okay with me.
That's how you do it, dude. Freaking lipstick lesbians. They freaking.
Oh, best. See, what I would do with the couple lesbians, I would play them like rotisserie chicken. And
Enough
and
of the chicken shit.
They get the strap on, you hit it by the back. I'll hit it by the front, she'd be sucking me off. Then we have
Roki, now you shit. What's up with this chicken, dude?
you, and we'll have
Oh yes, we're keeping it so classy tonight, just like pure Red Pill Nation hanging.
Got that chicken going on. I've been thinking about eating some
Oh my
chicken too
God.
myself, man. To be honest,
Oh,
you have
wow.
chocolate.
but chicken and yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it. You know why
Okay,
they call
no,
me Chocolate Thunder, though, don't you?
I don't want to know. Anyway,
Yeah, like them. They call me the Vanilla Killer.
The Vanilla Killer.
oh, that's fine.
Thunder. See, Thunder is an old '80s freaking, freaking '80s, '90s saying, dude. This is like old school shit.
No,
So-
I was going to say anything that is going to breed out the stupid liberal part of white women, fucking go for it. I don't care. I really don't. Those women. Well, one, I'm not attracted to those women. I'll fuck them, but I won't be in a relationship with long-term relationship with them.
No, but you'll fuck them. So
I'll
you're
fuck
okay.
them, yeah. If I could, I would.
Well, I mean,
Did you say you would?
you're talking about like white women, though, right?
Yep. And the way that they're going right now, that juice ain't worth the fucking squeeze. And in fact, as far as I'm concerned, that juice fucking dried up pretty damn fucking fast. I mean, good lord. There was, like, in terms of the post-election, there was one TikToker that blocked her father.
Oh yeah, he kept telling her how she's a whore and shit.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised that she was a whore, but you know, she blocked her dad. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm sorry, Dad, it's gonna hurt for a while, and if she never gets back to you, then consider it a blessing. There was one woman that went off the fucking deep end on her boyfriend because he voted for Trump. He's like, fuck. He's like, wow, she must have been in the Navy, and
That's when you know you need a new girlfriend at that point. Like, okay, just keep walking.
No. You don't need a new girlfriend. You need to walk away, and you don't go back for a while. That guy dodged a bullet, and he needs to make more of himself for himself. And the people that know that she was his girlfriend will know. And at the end of the day, he has to improve himself and to rise above that kind of fucking crazy ass shit. And if he becomes a passport bro, even better for him. So I think at this point what we're going to see is, what was it, the last time, when Trump won,
well, which time? Because he's won 3 times now. So,
well, he's won 2 times officially, conceded on the first one. So back in 2016.
Well, little details.
Back in 2016, when Trump won the first time, there was the Government of Canada website for immigrating to Canada had crashed because there were so many Americans that fucking flooded and broke the internet. It wasn't fucking funny. So,
which actually, no, it is funny because why don't they go to Mexico? Are they fucking racist? Why Canada?
Well, it depends how close you are to the depends how close you are to the 49th parallel.
But some of that's not a good question though. Why everybody want to go to Canada? It's all Mexico.
You know what it is?
Free healthcare.
No, it's not that. Freaking all these nerdy kids here in the United States, they freaking go to Canada and they get girlfriends all of a sudden.
They can get Chicana girls in Mexico. Be like,
that's
hey,
their
babe.
alibi. Have you ever seen Weird Science, dude?
Dude,
it's like all the geeks, freaking. They say that they freaking have a Canadian girlfriend. It's always their story, dude. And you know damn well they ain't got laid yet. They're freaking, You know.
Well, and I was gonna say, Canadian girls are not fucking easy. I mean, they're not.
They are notoriously difficult.
Like, given the overall climate, the environment, the overall economy, Canadian chicks are not easy.
And
I
what
wouldn't
about
bother with them.
That's
I
true.
would not bother with them at all.
are they suckers for the Americans though? Like,
Mm.
because you're a Canadian boys, you know what I'm saying?
I would think it's going to depend on which province you're in or where you are. Maybe.
Makes sense.
Or how close you are to the border. I mean, there was the fuck was that movie, The Great Outdoors, and I can see it happening. Like it basically took place around Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, which is across from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and enough Americans come in and out vacationing, so the local girls aren't going to get too emotionally attached because, well, the boys are going to be gone, so why bother? So from that perspective, I totally get it. I really do. Now, where Naoki and I are from, where we met in Banff, or the Bow Valley, well, it is known as Canada's STD capital, at the time STI capital, and I don't think it's changed. So,
Get it on.
that's just the experience that Naoki and I have. Not from each other, just from where we are.
I would hope not. Jesus.
Oh, no.
No, we weren't implying that at all.
No, at all. No way.
I just wanted to put that out there. It's just there's no
Wink, wink. At all. Wink, wink.
Poor Naroki.
Oh no, he knows this shit.
He gets just drug into it. You notice he's just sitting there all quiet and shit, and we're just bringing him into the conversation.
I don't want to even be involved. Why do they keep bringing me into this dirty-minded conversation they're having about me?
Because
he knows.
Anyway.
It's like whenever freaking Rarson visits, he's sitting down on one computer next to Naroki in his freaking underwear, and Naroki doesn't even have a problem with it, dude.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, when you guys hang out in the background, you hear like out of nowhere like the song, "If you like pina coladas, all in the rain."
And I was gonna say as well too, there was that one guy that lost his fucking shit because Trump won, and he is about as tall as he is thick, and he rips off his shirt, and it's like, dude, I did not need to see that. I'm not gay, but if I was, I'm not touching you with a 10-foot fucking cattle prod shoved up my ass, because it ain't gonna fucking happen. So, oh my god,
that was crazy.
That was disgusting. That was absolutely disgusting. If there's anybody that should never have a camera on, it's that guy, or people like him, men like him. I'm not the greatest of shape, but compared to him, I'm a fucking supermodel. I'll leave that alone.
Well,
when they get to my age, if they're skinny, dude, freaking they're hot. You know what I mean? Like, when you get older, dude, women will fucking come at you because you're skinny.
Yeah.
Or at least you're average. Or with a bit of a pot belly, or a bit of a muffin top. I get it.
Or if you got a lot of money and you're morbidly obese, because you're gonna kick the bucket at any point.
They don't fucking care. They'll put up with that shit.
I'm talking about
not saying women's are hoes, but I'm saying women's are hoes.
But they're hoes, yeah.
Wait until you get older. They'll freaking be like coming at you left and right because you're freaking young or because you're old. You know what I mean? They know they can't go out and get no 30-year-olds no more, so freaking they're coming for you.
Well, I'm going to do something I normally don't do. Put on a shirt, and I'm going to show you what I look like now, and I have to say, I look good. I do look good for my age. I don't have the crow's feet. I've got the silver hair. I've got the goatee. But I have to say that I look good for my age. Anyway, Naroki, do you want to jump in another direction?
He's like, oh, dude, this is already derailed. Fucking just go for it. He doesn't even want to put in.
You can do it.
Can we move on to the final thoughts here.
I think Naroki finally woke up.
Naroki freaking he doesn't even know what to say, dude. He's like,
No, Naroki was like for the last 10 minutes. Naroki was like,
yeah.
It was more like, what the fuck do I jump in on this? Because he was probably laughing his ass off as well too. Because we're not wrong.
Well, we don't get too many of a chance to talk to you very much, Rusin. So I'm pretty sure he's like, there you go.
yeah, there you go.
You're all right, man.
You look nothing like I thought you would.
Oh, really?
Yes, you're much more ugly. No, I'm just kidding. No, you're actually you're a fairly attractive older gentleman there.
And that's what I have to say for myself as well too. Not to toot my own horn, but
Well, it's true. I mean, what I said was actually true. You know, when you're skinny, dude, freaking, and women our age, freaking, they, you know what I mean? They don't freaking care about if you're like, you don't even really have to be a freaking.
I don't need a six pack. I would like to lose my muffin top.
You know,
and I'm working on it slowly, but I'm working on it. But I mean, what was it? When I was in Banff before, it was around the time I met Naroki. There was a guy that I worked with. He and his girlfriend. I asked her, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, she said, "Yeah, 7, 7.5." I'm like, okay, I'll take it. So
yeah.
I'm not ugly. I'm not average, but I'm not fucking stunning. And with
if I was a chick, I'd put you in my top 30.
He'd nail you freaking tomorrow, dude. Don't listen to freaking Angel, dude. If he was gay, you'd be on his lap, dude.
Luckily for him, I'm not gay.
That's right. You were lucky,
that's
dude.
A disturbing thought.
You
no standards, folks.
lucky.
No.
But if I was a chick, I'd be like twerking. I'd be like, "Come here, Steve."
He'd be on your lap. He'd be on your lap.
I'm good.
I heard you call you the Vanilla Zeus.
Morgan, how are you feeling right now?
See, this is what I'm saying, dude. You need to freaking come back on more because we're freaking really missing talking to you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came to the understanding a long time ago that body's going to fail. I have to work on me being me.
Yeah.
And that's a lot and I think I was about 14 or 15 when I came to that realization. And I think personally most females, but they don't get that until it's too fucking late. So, anyway. Rocky.
I blame it
Back
on
to you.
Blame it all on the whores.
Anyway, I've posted up my favorite version of Chocolate Thunder in the chat. So
Yeah.
That's a lot of thunder. That's a lot of thunder.
I mean, this is a one that me and V could agree upon.
I think the three of us could agree on that one.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
See, I'm into big boobs and stuff, but freaking there's just some things that there's too much, you know.
Oh, that is not too much.
But
I
you're
don't know.
It's gonna break your fucking neck, dude.
I mean, are you on that weird science trip again? Like anything bigger?
No, seriously, dude. You put your head in between those boobs, and you're gonna fucking break your neck.
But see, you're gonna die sometimes, brother. Like you plan to live forever. That's another way to go. Like get your head, the pearly gets in heaven, and be like, "How'd you die?" Between two titties. Look at the smile on my face.
2 titties. I would have died between 4 titties.
Okay, are we? Can we move on to the? We can move on to the afterthought here.
1980s
I thought that
Those
was
titties
the
are nice.
afterthought.
That's my afterthought.
Yeah,
There you go.
I thought that was the afterthought.
Yeah. The afterthought is when you clean up from the mess you just made in your pants. That's the afterthought.
Damn.
I need some wet wipes. Oh, sorry.
Yes. You got the baby wipes? I need the whole bag. It's going to be messy, baby.
Okay, we can move on here. All right, so the afterthoughts. All right, at just under 3 hours, we are at the afterthought, and hopefully we don't go for another hour on this one. But I mean, this went on a whole lot longer than I thought it was going to because, well, this is the Red Pill Nation hangout, so
No standards, folks.
no standards. Okay.
Welcome.
First of all, I will say that Maserati's boobs are just absolutely, yeah, chocolate thunder, baby.
Chocolate thunder
That's it.
with a little bit of that, yeah, milky cream right over the chocolatey part. It's gonna be a rocky road tonight.
What the hell was that?
Ebony and ivory live together between them two titties.
Oh, don't get me started. Okay, so afterthoughts here. Okay, happy that Trump won. Relieved that Trump won because, I mean, we just averted, first of all, I'm going to just say it, we averted World War III. Absolutely averted World War III. The whole situation, what Trump is going, there's so, honestly, I don't think he's going to be able to fix everything in 4 years. It's like literally going to have to take probably 2 or 3 presidents doing 8-year terms each to completely restore things. I don't know if that is going to be humanly possible. They are going to absolutely, they're definitely going to absolutely try to assassinate him. Oh God! Don't even compare Kamala to my buddy Maserati. They're not even in the same league. The
Breaking news, gentlemen. Kamala Harris to launch her OnlyFans account following the election loss.
I've actually been waiting for you. I've actually been waiting for you to repost that because that's the one that you posted the other day. I thought was pretty insane, and you haven't posted it since then. So now it's going to go onto freaking Jaffe's channel as well as everybody else's because I got a chance to repost it. So I just
yeah.
Welcome. That's what I do.
Kelso needs to see this too. He'll love you for that one. You know Kelso had, well, I don't know. I better hold back on that. I was like, you know Kelso gets in freaking Kamala. But then, like, I'm kind of debating if he gets into freaking women. It might be, after that review on gay porn, dude, I was like, oh, shit.
Oh,
He did it again on here after he did it on my show.
you understand, I've never even watched gay porn other than lesbian porn. I will be admitting guilt to that one.
Okay, so yeah, all right. Now getting back on topic here because we're past
A lot of hours in porn. Yes.
We're past the 3-hour mark here.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're absolutely going to try to assassinate Trump at least a few more times. Things that are definitely, and this is just me talking strict from the manosphere here. Probably the way at current rates, the manosphere is going to reach critical mass sometime around the midterms for Trump. So Trump is going to have to start to deal with the manosphere in some form or capacity, probably at the back end of his. That's even worse than Kamala Harris.
God, that's bad. I'm not sharing that one.
That's even worse than Kamala Harris.
That's
but yeah,
bad.
he's gonna have to deal. He's gonna have to be extremely careful that bureaucrats inside the government, particularly ones from the intelligence agencies or the military, don't try to clandestinely start a war that the U.S. can't get out of. There's definitely going, because like, I mean, the U.S. is hitting critical mass in terms of what's going to be coming up in terms of its economy. They're definitely going to have to the Fed is going to have to go. I don't know whether Trump is going to be the one to get rid of the Fed, but the Fed is definitely going to have to go. In education, yeah, you're going to have to like do, because like, I mean, I can absolutely guarantee you states like California and Washington and New York and whatever are not going to get either the transgender agenda or the rainbow agenda or any of that stuff. They are not even good. They are not going to do it on their own. It has to be enforced at a national level. The academia at the university level, if they don't get back to actual education instead of indoctrination, their funding absolutely needs to get pulled. The immigrant problem, yeah, Trump has already gone on the record of saying this. You know, the largest single mass deportation in human history is what Trump is going to have to do. Now, I mentioned how I was going to get into Rachel Levine and Jack Smith. Now, there's probably a few people that are now in serious goddamn trouble. Topping that list is Jack Smith.
Yep.
Jack Smith is in a world of trouble. If he has any brains at all, he will fucking leave the country and never come back.
Yep.
He is fucking toast. He should have figured out probably about 6 months ago that the indictments that he was choosing to pursue were not going to come to fruition, but he chose to keep going ahead with them anyway. I hope the money that he got for doing that is worth it, because he's like, Jack Smith is either going to be dead or in jail within 24 months. That's my gut feeling on them.
I'm good with either or on him.
Rachel Levine is also the other one that I think needs to, and I know that RFK is going to be really pushing hard on to get Rachel Levine to answer something. Like, Rachel Levine has got some stuff that she did specifically around Big Pharma.
Yep.
Rachel Levine is also those two are like almost one, and Rachel Levine is still saying Rachel Levine is in deep fucking shit.
Not only that, RFK Jr. Told MSNBC he wants to clear out the entire department of the FDA.
Yep, the FDA. Oh yeah, the FDA is in big ass trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was. I don't know who was running Milley's fucking military career is effectively dead.
Yeah, he's done.
General Milley's career is dead. I don't know who was the head of the FBI. But that guy is fucking toast.
Now, question though, no, can Trump go in there and fire General Milley?
I don't know, but he can definitely be replaced and basically be forced into taking retirement. I don't know whether he can prosecute him or not, but he could definitely.
Prosecuting can only be done, I think, through maybe a military tribunal.
Right.
But in terms from the General Joint Chiefs of Staff, you can do that.
So let me point something out though on that. NCIS is worse than going through freaking regular channels. Like, NCIS is the equivalence of the military's freaking Secret Service.
Yep. So yeah, Milley is in a lot of trouble. Bolton is probably going to be having to answer for a few things, although Bolton's going to go down in flames anyway at some point.
Yep.
Bolton's probably Bolton's going to go down at some point anyway. It's just a question of where, when. Who is the current head of the FBI?
Not sure.
Could somebody look that up? Whoever that is.
I'll say this though. One thing Trump definitely needs to do is go in and pardon Rudy Giuliani of anything.
Christopher Wray.
Christopher Ray, yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that dude's in a world of fucking. That dude's in a serious amount of trouble. He's got a lot of questions to answer, which gets me to my next point. The J6 people are definitely going to all be pardoned. The individuals who are responsible for some of these malicious prosecutions on J6,
Yeah.
those individuals need to be dragged out in front of Congress, in front of a congressional hearing, be ripped into publicly, and then be prosecuted for for basically wasting time just to score some political brownie points.
Yep.
See who else. The individual, I can't. Although again, people have very mixed opinions about this guy. The individuals who are responsible for railroading Alex Jones, they need to be named, and they probably need to they at least have the gears taken to them, because Alex Jones is not responsible for what some unhinged fucking listeners do. So yeah, there might be some action on that. Ray Epps, who was involved in J6.
That's the guy I was thinking about earlier, Ray Epps. There we go.
Yeah, Ray Epps and the head of the Phoenix FBI. That dude has got some fucking explaining to do.
Yep.
That's
the guy they gave the slap on the wrist, and he's like, "Yeah, go home."
No, he's not getting the head of the FBI in Phoenix, and whoever it was that was preventing the investigation, not preventing proper investigations into J6. That individual's toast. Government funding. Again, this is going back to the Department of Education. Government funding to universities, specifically to professors who were encouraging the overthrow of the U.S. government. Those guys got it. Those people. You can't remove them because of tenure, but you can make damn sure that they never get another fucking research grant ever, right? There's ways of getting around tenure.
I also want to point out somebody needs to be brought up on murder charges because of the girl freaking who got shot freaking in the neck, according to what
Yeah.
That girl served in the military. She freaking served in the military 2 tours, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And she freaking came back to get shot in the neck and killed by her own freaking people. That's
Yep.
Yeah, I think also the military standards are probably going to have to be increased. It's like you've got potential hostile foreign powers. The Biden administration. Four issues. One, they have to restructure their economy, because thanks again to all of the incompetence of the Biden administration, there is now a viable alternative to the U.S. dollar out there. So the U.S. is going to have to literally restructure its economy. I don't know whether Trump is going to have the time to do all that, but he's going to have to do something about BRICS. He's going to have to settle. He's going to have to make. He's definitely going to have to fucking shut the bank that's sending money to fucking Ukraine.
Yeah.
That is beyond question at this point. Like Zelensky, the bank is fucking closed. Period. Let's see, what else do I think needs to be? Then you start getting into certain corporations and stuff like that. I'm not talking about Pfizer, but Monsanto's been very quietly doing some shit in the agricultural area. That has to be dealt with at some point. There's that one's probably down the road. But again, from my perspective, at some point in his administration, he's going to have to start, because the manosphere hits critical mass in terms of numbers, probably at current rate, early 2020, sort of mid to late 2026, around about the time that they have the midterms. He's gonna have to start doing something about the manosphere. They're gonna have to trying to think if there's anything else that immediate. Oh yes, men in women's sports. That's done.
You had. I knew you were going to bring that up.
That's done. Like boom, finished.
I
done.
loved seeing a woman get punched in the face by a man that was transgender. I thought that was the coolest freaking thing because you know why?
Yeah,
You know why?
I see
Freaking
that.
when women freaking think that they get into a ring with a freaking man with full solid build and take it to the face and then freaking they're crying over it. That's a lesson
to the
learned.
face.
That's a lesson learned, okay? You don't freaking get into a boxing match with a freaking man and just because he's transgender, he's still physically bigger than her.
Oh, see that you went way a different direction. I thought you were gonna say like, well, you want equal rights, right? Well, equal rights, equal lefts.
Oh well, here's another thing you're probably gonna see in the next during Trump's reign, the Olympics in LA in 2028.
Yeah,
You're not going to see any of the woke bullshit that you saw in. You're definitely not going to be seeing any of the woke bullshit that you saw at the. Like, you won't have. So
you're not going to have all that like transgender, crazy, demonic stuff showing up at the beginning and the middle and the end.
I doubt that's gonna happen because like freaking it's the Olympic freaking athletes who are causing all the shit. You know what I mean? They're all like the transgender fucking and like in Russia, if they'd have just kept their fucking mouth shut and slept in the fucking sleazy ass dirty hotel rooms like every other Russian and tourist does when they go to Russia, then they'd have been fine. But they had to get up and protest because people were picking on them for being homosexual.
Yeah, it's not gonna be so. Yeah, like the Olympics are not gonna be this woke debacle that you saw in. It's not gonna be the woke debacle that you saw in Paris. So yeah, they're definitely gonna be doing something about women in men's sports. They're gonna definitely not allow. They are definitely not going to allow.
Actually, I like that one.
Yeah.
Bring it on, baby. Old Crow. For the man inside you.
You get a little drunk and you hit that Old Crow, baby.
So yeah, those are the things that I think he's going to have to be immediately. The manosphere is definitely looming on the horizon. He is definitely going to have to, and it's like he's going to have to start moving on it like almost immediately. Oh, yes, I totally forgot about this. Any bureaucrats that start dragging their asses on changes, they absolutely need to be removed immediately without prejudice. Post haste. There's going to be more. You're going to see a lot of firings happening in a lot of departments. And again, on the foreign front, he's definitely going to have to restore relationships with Russia. He's definitely going to have to do something about the U.S. dollar versus the BRICS dollar. He's going to have to get spending seriously under control. Like they cannot afford to keep as it currently stands.
Elon Musk is going to fix that.
From what I'm seeing, speaking of Elon, thank you, Rusin, for bringing that up. The U.S. can only keep running deficits for maybe another decade before their economy completely collapses. And on big tech, he is going to have to immediately throw up as much interference as humanly possible because they are absolutely going to go after alt tech as hard as they can over the next 3 to 6 months. Like they're going to try and get as many of the alt tech sites taken down. probably in the next, I'm guessing probably in 3 to 6 months, 6 months to a year, they're going to do everything they can to get the alt tech sites taken down. Because, I mean, what it ultimately comes down to, and this is where I'm going to end off, is that the mainstream media, Hollywood, the music industry, a lot of the like Black. Oh yes, he is definitely going to have to do something about BlackRock and George Soros. Like those two have
slow
to be
down, Naroki. George
he's
Soros.
happy.
Yeah,
He's fired.
yeah. He's like going. Yeah, he's gonna arrest everybody. Calm down. You know
I
how
don't
powerful.
necessarily say he's
Yeah.
going to arrest everybody, but he's definitely going to have to do something about BlackRock and George
I love the
Soros.
excitement. I love.
Yeah, yeah. Like he thinks Trump is gonna go in there and be like, you know what? I'm gonna be more than just
Yo,
the president.
bitches, what's up? It's like
I'm
Well,
gonna
I mean,
take everybody down.
look
Even
at
powerful George Soros.
Elon's
Uh,
bringing the sink into the White House now, bitches.
Yeah.
What's
well,
up?
look at the mess. Look at the mess the U.S. is in. Like, there's so many things that need to be fixed. Like, literally, you go to any single secretarial department and you look at it. Like, he has to, like, in order for the real change to happen, he has to like literally do. He has to put someone like RFK Jr. in every single secretarial department and just let the fireworks start.
Well, see,
He's not going to be able to do it himself.
But
that's
he
an
can't do
issue.
that.
That's an issue I have right there. You know, it's like when you take a look at these poor ladies, like they freaking don't have positions available in freaking the perfume section of these supermarkets anymore. And then like freaking, you take a look at jobs that freaking were geared towards women. They aren't available to them anymore. You know, everybody's talking about women's rights and stuff, but it's like all the ones that are actually like secretaries. Like women aren't being hired to be secretaries anymore. You know?
Well, there's a lot more gay men actually, and a lot of those jobs, believe it or not. But not only that, technology is also playing a big part in a lot of these jobs disappearing, which is another scary thing. Because why do you need a secretary when you could just streamline everything online and everything
Well, I
is
mean,
just there?
secretary was probably a bad example, but like women
I mean,
who
you have
are
AI
behind the
now.
counters
You need a
selling
woman?
perfume and stuff, you know what? No, I mean that was
Well, yeah.
traditionally a job for women, and
Yeah.
now freaking that they're not available to them. You know what I mean? There's women who freaking would love to freaking be working in a mall selling perfume to people.
Well, that's the thing. Malls are like disappearing, dude. There's
Yeah,
a
exactly.
mall here in Miami called Sunset Place, which I saw the opening of it in the '90s. It was beautiful when they opened it. They made a big deal about it. It was packed every night, and this is of course pre-smartphones, and people would actually go outside and hang out at places and all this stuff. It was the '90s, and this place was beautiful. And they're not going to take it down, leave a movie theater, and turn it into like a place just so people go eat. And they're going to build like apartments and shit there.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot. Like, I mean, there's so much. I don't think like it's going to have like whoever Trump is going to have to get started. He's going to have to pick somebody, J.D. Vance, for instance, and they're going in order to execute the change. There has to be a series of reformers that are in place for years in order to make it work.
Now, J.D. Vance, I don't know. Like that's kind of skirting on the homosexual thing there because he's
I don't know about that now.
He's a weird freaking dude. You got to remember
don't start with that weird crap. Come on, it's not that weird.
You got to remember, he was the one that was dead set against Donald Trump until freaking Donald Trump offered him.
Okay, Kamala was dead set against Biden, even called him a racist, and then she was like, "Okay, Mr. Biden, I'll join your campaign." Joe, we did it, Joe. We did it.
Now he would have to get somebody cool like freaking
like J.D. Vance.
Tesla.
You know what I would do? I'll get Matt Gaetz involved in some of these things, and Jim Jordan,
You know.
People like that also. It's not just about the vice president and a couple people. Like, let's get some of these Congress people, Ted Cruz, people who would not only make their statements articulately well, not like the president currently and his vice president, who is no longer even ever going to be able to run for president again because she's toast. But people like Ted Cruz, Jim Jordan, these people actually can speak in public, and I think there's a lot of things that Ted Cruz, for example, can investigate. My thing is, Ted Cruz in the past has said amazing things, but his follow up has been kind of weak. So if they point and put him in some direction and have him investigate any of this stuff, I hope he actually has good follow through and they come up with some good stuff and actually, goes after some of the things going on, like at the border, for example. Like, I would appoint him the border czar, straight up, because nobody in the last 6, 7 years has gone to the border more than Ted Cruz. Nobody has seen dead bodies from these immigrants like Ted Cruz. He knows what's going on there. And while Kamala Harris didn't do squat as the border czar, I think Ted Cruz will crush that job.
Yeah, there's gonna be, like I said right at the start, there's gonna be some serious mass deportings happening.
Yeah, but first you stop the bleeding of the people coming in.
No, I believe you're right about freaking him. I know a lot of people give him a lot of shit, but when it comes to border and everything, he's big on all that.
Oh yeah. You give him that job that Kamala like the Miami Dolphins when Tua got his head knocked out a couple weeks ago. But Ted Cruz, I think, would go in there and he would be the perfect person to put in charge for the next 4 years in making sure that the border crisis ends in America. And that guy is 100%, I believe that he is really dedicated and focused on that. Everything else, he has not fully 100% always delivered on, but I think that's the one thing you put him in there. And with Trump, J.D. Vance backing him and the control of the Senate, House, and presidency, that border, my friends, will be empty. Like a mall parking lot these days. Empty. They'll be, I think they'll completely control that situation. And the mass deportations, all that stuff is great and all that needs to happen, like Trump said. But you have to stop the bleeding first. And stopping the bleeding at the border is highly important. And while you're doing that, start surrounding some areas and start getting and picking up some of the people you want to deport, so you could actually do both at the same time.
Yep. So yeah, he's got a lot of work.
Yeah.
In front of him, and glad he won, and he actually is in a better position to do something this time around. At the same time, it's gonna be. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting if he's like. He also has to make sure that whoever he picks to be VP is absolutely dedicated to him. And oh yeah, he absolutely cannot fuck around with his political enemies this time. He hasn't got the time or the space to do it.
Yeah, it's time to take names and fucking put them in prison, dude.
Yep. Well, you can't just put him in prison, but have him
get the hearing started. Yeah.
And that's why I say bring Jim Jordan in on it. Make sure he runs those hearings, and him, Matt Gaetz, hey, just to rub it in. MTG, Margie Taylor Greene. Just put those heads in there, and heads will be rolling, baby.
First thing he needs to do is start signing pardons. That's as soon as he hits freaking Oval Office, dude. Then pardons should be sitting on the table right in front.
Well, just like how Joe Biden did with the decrees. Oh, by the way, I put up my other version of Chocolate Thunder. She's not as tubby as Maserati, but she's got boobs. Anyway, Anybody else have anything more? We're at 3.5 hours here, so let's kind of just give everybody else kind of just
That's
give like a
fine.
10 or 15 minute, 10 like a 5 or 10 minute closing statement. And then we're gonna have to go because we're pushing 4 hours here.
Tina Fire, I used to watch her, but she got really crazy ghetto. She's got a bod from hell, dude. She's just freaky.
She can get it.
She's a freaky deaky cheek.
Oh,
Yeah.
just
Oh,
like
by the way, I for whatever reason, Angel, you're saved. Like usually after 3 hours, when I save, there's an automatic posting up my chat feed. I don't see it, so maybe it runs to 4 hours where you're at. I don't know.
yeah. It's still going. It's at 3:30 right now, so it's still
Yep,
going.
okay, so everybody else just give a quick 5 or 10 minute summation, and then we're going to have to call it here. I want to end this before the 4 hour mark.
Okay.
Roger, you want to hit that first?
Tina Fire.
What?
No, not Tina Fire. I guess Tina Fire's got a like nasty body and everything, but we'll avoid talking about Tina Fire's boobs and get back to politics.
I like Fire's body.
I want to look at her boobs, so Roger,
But with me, what I see about this is it's all about freaking being careful about how freaking you view all this, because like in this election I didn't see any of those promises like he did in the first election. So what he does after this, if he goes after is freaking people who have been going after him, that could be up in the air. In his best interest, I believe he needs to go after him, but there's no guarantee that's on the table. It's really cool and exciting that he did become president, but what he does, nobody really knows, because he never got into that whole lock her up thing this time around. So that's the one thing I gotta say. But it would be great if he did that. So that's all I got.
Well, I'll go next. I'll tell you this much. I think he should go after these people. Whether he'll go after everybody like Naroki over here wants, Jesus, that's a lot of heads. I don't know if he'll end up doing that, especially not in 3 or 4 years. But there's a few people that are going to have to be made an example of, and those are the more important ones. Because if you start going after people, you're gonna have to like include AOC and a lot of people in Congress who, Maxine Waters, who literally made physical threats. I mean, there's a lot of people you're gonna have to like put under investigation, and we're gonna investigate everybody. By the way,
at some point in 4 years, a lot of these. Jack Smith is definitely in a lot of trouble.
Oh yeah, no, Jack Smith and a lot of the more current stuff like that. Letitia James, she's on video saying, "I'm gonna get him and destroy him," and then she's like saying, "I never ran on that." You're a liar. So she needs to lose her job, maybe go to prison. The judge who was making money off of Trump in that trial with his daughter, that needs to be investigated, and he needs to get disbarred. And there's a few people that really need to like face the music. And I do hope Trump doesn't go soft on them. But I was having this conversation with my dad a couple of hours back, and he made a very interesting point, and I'm going to share with you guys. He said, and mind you, it was Spanish, so I'll translate as best as I could here. But basically, he said it would be almost genius if Trump didn't go at anyone and just moved on and did his job and did the best for the country and just did an amazing job as president and didn't really go and prosecute these people, because in the 4 years, remember, they've been saying he's going to go after everybody. He's going to destroy his political enemies. And then in 4 years, he could be like, he didn't do any of that shit. They actually not only lied to you about the laptop and everything else, they even lied to you about that. Trump never did that. He didn't do it the first 4 years. He didn't do it the second 4 years. And he was a great president both times. and there's a lot less, fucking around because everybody's afraid he's actually going to go after them, and he was allowed to actually be a president. He didn't have a nasty Pelosi in the speaker position, so he was able to actually do his job this time. And my dad made that point, and I was like, that's not a bad point because that makes even the next election a higher probability that the Republicans would sweep again the House, Senate, and the presidency. You think about it.
So what
They
happened
would
to
have
Reagan?
proven that they could do a better job. They've proven that their candidates are better. They've proven that they're not going to go after them and make it all about, one party rule, and they're not going to destroy the system and just make it better, right? They're not going to pack the courts. They're going to do things legally. Hey, if another left judge of the court, bites the dust, and he has to appoint another Supreme Court justice, that's his right. He's the president. Don't cry about it. It happens. He got 3 last time. If he gets another one, really, he's going to appoint a liberal? Doesn't work that way. So, whatever he does, that point my dad made, I thought was brilliant. If he's just a great president and says, you know what, I'm not going to bother with you guys. I'm going to pardon whatever that you guys have cooked up for me because I didn't do any of these things, and I'm just going to write everything off and just do the best. And you're not even bother with them like they're peasants, like they're ant and ant pile. They're not even good enough or worthy of his time. And I think honestly that's a good angle also. As much as I want to see Nasty Pelosi getting waterboarded in Guantanamo Bay, I could see my dad's angle on that, and that's really all I have now. As far as parting words, if you allow me, I will say it right now. You can find me over at angelespino.com, and my show, it's Inside the Jackal's Head, is on every Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Go over there, check it out, and let me know what you think. It's a pretty hopping and crazy place. It's going to be hopping and popping on Sunday because I'm going to be talking about Trump once again. So remember, angelespino.com, 10 p.m. Eastern, Sunday nights.
You always keep forgetting the real Angel Espino. Real Angel.
Well, that's here on Skype, but my website is just angelespino.com.
Okay. So
Yeah.
And I agree with your dad on that aspect if it was just like politics. But also remind him, man, this is freaking Donald Trump's life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but think about it. If he makes everything go away and he doesn't go and get Supernova and all these people and just go intergalactic and just has a great 4 years and the country is prospering, gas is down, inflation is getting lowered, we have no new wars, the wars that we have now are stopped. I mean, if he can achieve these goals, that I think will play a huge part in the psyche of Americans for the next coming election.
Because they're still out there. They're still out there. You know what I mean? Like these people, they're wanting him either dead or in prison. So,
but think about it. Even some of those leftists that want that, even just the regular crazy leftists, if none of that happens, they can't keep hating. You know what I mean? That you could be like, he didn't do any of the shit you guys are being lied to that he was going to do. So why would you keep talking all this shit? And slowly but surely, a lot of these people are going to start either changing their tune, like happened this election from previous, and not only that, their kids are going to have a better life.
Better outlook on them too.
Yes, and once the schools start teaching the kids better, Because, there's some liberals that are heterosexual couples and they have kids in school and they're liberals and they hate Trump. But when they see their kids are getting better, their education system's getting better, when, there's money to actually feed the homeless, that it's not going to feed wars constantly, when they see that veterans are getting taken care of, and you call themselves the party of love, right? The party of inclusion. I think some of that's going to start, getting them to think a little bit and understanding that, if they're going to live up to hype, they got to do it. Now, the problem is the George Soros and the really nasty people of the world that are behind the scenes, they want power, they want money, and they're hungry. And my worry is there's enough evil in those entities to make the next 4 years really, really hard on us, on everybody.
Oh, it's gonna be very hard on us. They took power in 2020 in a soft coup, and they're not gonna just walk away. Which
Also,
is why Trump is going to have to be a lot meaner than he was than he was between 2016 and
not only
2020.
that, but remember the election results is done. We know he won, but the actual electoral college results, while done, the transfer of power is done by who? Kamala Harris. She's she's the vice president. She gets to certify the electoral college. She's the one that gets later in January to certify that the results are fine, and there's a peaceful power transfer over to the Trump administration. If they try anything at that point, you have to somehow go in there and not allow them to form a coup, because that's been a rumor that's going to happen. And they had like 30 something indictments ready to go, and just to not let the power transfer happen. If that happens, we need to fight eye to eye, blood to blood, go in there and make sure that this is not allowed. This is the United States of America. And you know what? And back in the day, if you were a communist and you're trying this shit in this country, we dealt it and we did it the American way. And we need to do that again. Truth, justice, and the American way needs to always prevail.
Okay, Roger, you've already gone, right? So yeah, Rearson, take this show out.
In the rear.
Not yours, but that's okay.
It's okay.
All right. What I'm reminded of is that being part of the alt media, being an anon, being in the woo community, is that people such as myself, and I've got a lot to learn, is that we're gonna, someone such as myself, maybe Hiroki, Carol from way back when over in England, is that we're moving into a new period of genuine human development. And it's not that we're gonna have to rise above all of the pettiness of what's been going on, but we are. But there are going to be a lot of people that are just going to be kind of going, "Qu'est-ce que fuck? What the fuck's going on here? Like, I don't get what's happening here." And if and when, I hope genuinely, that we're going to know who Ghislaine Maxwell was thrown in jail for. Nobody knows who's on that list. I mean, again, it was the first time that someone's been thrown in jail, but the actual details were never released to the public. So you want to talk about a transition period. I don't think that I can say this any more than I already have, is that how can I put this? My opinion is that Trump, the easiest way to put this is that Trump is the catalyst of what we have to go through to what we are going to become. as a species, not as a race, not as a country or as a world. I mean, as a species. I mean, I was watching Transformers 1 on YouTube, and it was a good fucking movie. Like, it really was. It wasn't over the top, but I could feel the underlying message about it, and that's basically where we are right now. And we've been clipped. We have been reduced in our capacity. We're nothing but, just as the cyborgs, robots, where you are on Cybertron, we're basically, well, this is your job. You need to do this. You need to do this. And this is all you're ever going to be. They had their transformative cog taken out from them as early as possible, and the celebrity, the leader that everybody adored, which there's really no comparison. You cannot help but compare if you have the awareness. Is no different than the crap we're going through right now. So, for me, Trump and the people that were with him and were doing their best to fix things and to wake people up and the whole fucking bit. And that's not to say this work isn't done, because it isn't by a long shot, but it's going to be there. But it's going to be, everyone else is going to have to start to wake up and take responsibility for themselves and to improve themselves. I can see that this is probably going to be more of a male thing than it is going to be a female, given their general kryptonite-ish retreat from accountability and the like. So we'll see. But I don't think that I'm wrong. I really honestly don't. I have been told that my purpose here is that I need to be waking men up to basically their spiritual potential. I have no idea how I'm going to get there, but that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So the more that I become red-pilled, what it is, I need to wake them up, but I also need to wake them up to tapping into their cosmic feminine side. I can't really put it to words, but I have a lot of work to do, and I have to start looking into it now, and especially now that things have settled down. So we'll see. We will see. In terms of what's going to happen within DC, I expect there's going to be shit's going to hit the fan. People are not going to know their head from their ass, and it's going to be very confusing, and I would love to avoid that, but you don't know that you're in a mental prison until it's pointed out. And there were like 6 or 7 mental prisons. So the 2 females that I've mentioned, any other people that I know, PW included, for now, I'm just going to leave them alone. I'll let them fucking flounder and flap around or flop around like a fish out of water, because they're going to be a fish out of water, and there's nothing I can do about it. So if anybody who's listening is part of the Moo community or feels any sort of inclination, don't hit anybody down. Don't browbeat them down with, well, I tried to tell you. Believe me, I want to. I really want to. Just, there has to be a level of overall compassion, and just set the ego aside, and then we can start from there. So
a little bit of decorum, I think, is what you're trying to get at.
That too, but there's just a lot that we have to go through, and we are going to be going through as a species. And I mean that from one end to the other, from top to bottom, left to right, whatever, north to south, east to west. So, and that's all they got.
Yeah.
So let's wrap it up.
Okay, it's going to be an interesting 4 years, assuming they don't try to assassinate Donald Trump before he even gets there. That's not dismiss that as a possibility. A bit of a pleasant surprise if he won, but not really. It was pretty like, I mean, the writing was pretty obvious. It's probably as late as early September that the press was starting that
They're tired of it.
the honeymoon period for Kamala Harris was over, and it was over fairly quickly because Kamala Harris was just so inherently unlikable. And you know, glad he won. You're going to see. I will also finish this off. You are going to see a lot of leftist grandstanding. Oh, and one other thing, I totally forgot about this. You're going to see all the Hamas protesters disappearing from campuses very soon. That's also a very strong possibility. But with that, that is it for tonight. We're almost at the 4 hour mark. Hopefully, when it stops recording, that it shows up on my chat so I can download it. But this concludes the after report for the 2024 election. Go Donald. Hopefully that bleeds over. I got some reservations about Donald. If Kelso was here, he would definitely have some reservations. It's not because he hates Trump. He's not really pro anybody. But Kelso would probably have brought up some very interesting discussion points. But we're pushing 3 hours, 15 minutes here.
Oh,
So
well.